to as real in real life as possible in the
Yeah.
digital world.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate that you
Yeah.
took the time out to be here.
Cool, man.
We met through Instagram.
Yeah.
You've been a huge supporter of my content. I really appreciate that. And my thing is, once we started talking and stuff, I realized you're a well of knowledge yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, you remind me of all the people that I came up under and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, some of the work obviously speaks for itself, but you yourself have a very interesting story from what I understand.
Yeah.
And you're one of the pioneers of MMA in Philadelphia.
Yeah. With the Fight
You know,
Factory. Yeah.
so I mean, I could just sit here and listen to you talk about this stuff for days. I mean,
And it all be depends on what you would ask. Like, how did I join the Fight Factory? That would be a really big, powerful story for you because I was there. I came in right when the owner got knocked out by Zach Wakeman, where they only fought with the palms, and he didn't
ooh,
know how to box, but he was really good at sambo and jiu-jitsu, and he did all the tournaments. And he was just a guy only did sambo for 6 months, and he was 2 years down the road fighting Pablo Popovich in a black belt division in no gi. So this guy Steve Haig was like really a really he was the actual true pioneer of MMA. And then his friend Pierre was the Muay Thai coach. But then when Pierre moved to England, I came in and then I became the boxing coach. It was just a Wednesday night where they had a thing where they had to try to take me down because I was already a judo guy and a jiu-jitsu guy too. I was a blue belt. But they had to shoot in, take me down, and I knocked out two of his fighters.
mm.
And after that, I never paid dues and then just became great friends. And then it just kept going from there. And then 6 months later, I took him to a super fight championship down at the convention center in Wildwood against one of the real big jack juiced up guy, purple belt guy. Was the worst fight he ever been in, and he won because he had the old school training. And he said after that fight, I remember it, he knows it. I never want to train like that ever again. And I said, see, like with that medicine ball, slamming him in the stomach, slamming him in the stomach. Now, all the stuff Wesley did. If you really trained 3 3-minute rounds the way Wesley did, you could beat 90% of them pro MMA guys out there on stand up wise.
Can you, can you talk about Wesley Mozon for a second? Like,
Yeah, that was my
because
real father to me.
you came up under him.
Yeah, dude.
You came
Right.
up under him, right?
Yeah.
How did you stumble into that situation?
Well, because my very first trainer was Tony Yotto, a Spanish guy. He was like real good in the martial arts, but he was real mean. He was the kind of guy that would take the glove and slap you in your face if you were, wrong. So I was a runaway and I was an abused kid. So I didn't take to that kind of behavior. The technique was all great, all that. That's awesome. But for some reason, I was too intimidated. And we had like 6 trainers in that gym. It was called Dempsey's Neutral Corner. It was at Jasper and Westmoreland Street in Kensington, right? Big 4-leaf clover on the building. But Wesley was an old man that was like a grandfather to all of us in there. He knew you were going through something. He didn't condemn you. He didn't criticize you. He always had a nurturing way. And then, all them years that I knew him, I heard he was great because I'm going counts to counts. You got no way to research this guy. I don't really find out till years and years go by, and I'm able to start finding out that, all the stuff he did with Bon Montgomery, he was considered one of the greatest lightweights in the world, and he got thumbed in the eye and it got a detached retina, and that ended his career. But then he went and became a trainer, and he would do charity work where he would help save all the kids in the neighborhood, give them free rent in the gym, people like me, and let me sleep there sometimes. And the pros and real amateurs who boxed were the ones that had to pay. It was only $15 a month for amateurs and $25 for the pros. You want to know what the list of pros were in there?
Yeah, tell us.
Tony Thornton, Brian Payton, Myron Taylor. Meldrick Taylor used to come all the time, but he had already left and went with Lou Duve after he left Willie Rush over there at Front Street, which used to be called Cambria Gym on Clearfield Street. Right? That's a lot of history. But we had Tim Witherspoon came just to beat up that guy from Florida, Milton Bowen, which I told you about before.
Mhm.
That's a dynamic story because that's when you really learn a Philly shell like no other with that overhook bomb that he used to throw. But me and Wesley just hit it off because he knew I was a broken kid. He knew I was a runaway. And so he just fathered me. And that's how I got close to him because the other trainers were mean. And I just kind of gravitated towards his gentleness. And then he took what was broken in me and always made me spar all his great champions. So I was the rag doll and the guy to be around all that, and you're banging and you're going here, and then we had like these smoker matches, and then we had the gym wars where the guy like Slim Jim Robinson's gym, he'd bring the big fat Italian guy to come beat me up. I was 147 pounds. I'm 16. This dude's 23 years old, like 230. And they kept saying, don't, and they called me Slim because I was so skinny. And, you know, all the guys in the gym, no white guys. I'm the only white guy in there. And you know how the black guys are so cool to you, right? Especially when you can fight. They're like, yo, Slim, you got him. You can whip his fat ass. Fuck that man. And they're saying bad stuff. And I'm acting like, yeah, I can do it. I beat this guy for 3 straight rounds, smashed his whole face. Both eyes were closed. And I was too afraid to throw the right hand. So I did all that with just the jab, just the movement here and there. It's all because of Wesley. Wesley was the kind of guy that made you shadow box in the mirror for 6 months. And if you didn't make him see you look like a fighter there, you got no reason to try to convince him to look like a fighter on the bag. What's the point? You see a lot of that in today's gyms, you know? He educated me, man. I feel like I'm above everybody in that world. They spar without headgear. They spar without Vaseline. They let uneven people fight in their gyms, and they're giving the guys concussion. And you go, yo, he ran that like he was a grandfather. You were none of that grab ass and shit he used to call it. You can't be bringing girls. No girls were allowed in the gym. You weren't allowed to fool around. When you were in the gym, it was straight work or you're gone. It was just that. That's how it was. And you respected it, man, because the only thing that was coming in and out of Dempsey's gym was high material. Vinny Borghese out of South Philly used to come there and have sparring wars with Myron Taylor. And I'm sitting there taking that all in going, wow, like, are you kidding me? Wesley was the kind of guy that I don't see talk today. I'm sure now they're all going to see it. But when you slip side to side and you get in, boom, 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 he don't teach you to come back like Tony Thornton. Boom, boom, boom. Here, tie up, push. I don't back up after I throw my shot. I hit here, I come in, I clinch, I push, and I keep going and I smother you. So now you got to shove me off to fight me now. But if I 1-2 you and I back out, now I give him the chance to do something. And that was Wesley's mind. Get in, here, stay there. Stay there and be so elusive that the guy don't want to be that close to you. And then look at Lomachenko. He's that guy. He'll 1-2 and he stays right in your face. And you go, that's how Wesley taught all of us. The only thing is I'm a big, tall guy, 6'2". I didn't play that style, but I know it because I was forced to learn it when I was shorter. Pretty awesome stuff, dude, right?
I see a lot of that stuff now in a lot of the local Philly gyms. Guys teach that, no backing up and all that kind of stuff.
You know? Yeah, you can't. Or you just got what you got in MMA. You notice they come forward and they go back. They come forward, they come back. You don't see the guy hit, move, hit, don't be in the same place. And they don't really do that because they worry about the kicks and the throws. But I've done Muay Thai ever since I joined the Fight Factory. I'm not a Muay Thai fighter, but I've done it for so long that a really great friend of mine, Steve McCabe is his name. He owns a great gym, and it's called Brookhaven, PA. It's called Studio X. He's a great guy to go to. If you're looking for a great Muay Thai coach, he's the best. He was a guy that was all over the place. You couldn't get near him. You went to kick him, he'd slide over here and kick you in the leg. So, like, all these guys that I got to influence even at the Fight Factory, all those guys were great fighters too. So going from Wesley's greatness, I took it and I handed it to everybody at the Fight Factory. That's the reason that gym blew up so quick when Eddie Alvarez finally walked through the door, because everything that was getting handed down to them guys that I knew from Wes.
So by the time you walked into the Fight Factory, you were pretty much a finished product, right?
Yeah.
You had the boxing, the grappling, essentially.
Had the judo. Yeah. By the time I had got to Steve with the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because I left judo to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I believe that was 99. So I was like doing it for like 3 years before I went there. I think I started Steve's at like beginning of January of 2001. So
Jiu-Jitsu, right? Obviously, everybody found out about Jiu-Jitsu through MMA, through like before the UFC, the Pride, all that good stuff, right?
Yeah.
And everyone starts scrambling like, oh, I got to learn that stuff, right?
Right away.
From what I understand, there wasn't a lot of coaches like back then, especially I would assume in Philadelphia.
There were no MMA coaches. Steve Haig was the best coach around at the time because he was a Sambo guy. So Steve was the kind of guy that if he got down on the ground with you and it was a leg fight, you were getting your shit broke. He was that good. It blew my mind because he wasn't a jiu-jitsu black belt. He was just that good, man.
Oh, so he wasn't even a black belt, but he was one of the first guys to start teaching jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, yeah. He didn't
Hey,
care,
you
man. He
gotta
was
do what
from
you can.
Frankfurt, which is the next neighborhood from K&A. He went to
Of
the
course.
same schools that I did, Harding and Frankfurt. So hard knocks. He'd stand right there and
Well,
bang for the whole 5 minutes.
the reality is a lot of the old school jiu-jitsu guys honestly learned a lot of that stuff from watching just tapes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all they had at the
He did
time.
too. We used to share the
Yeah.
tapes, the DVDs, and we would talk about, funny you say that, on a thing called Budo's Videos, and you could get all the grappling stuff. And back and forth, me and him were like, yo, can I borrow that? Nah, I'll just make you copies. And it was always whatever he sent me. Then I would sit there and drill that with Little Joe for like 5-6 hours all the time until we mastered the move. And then I would take Little Joe to tournaments, and now he's learning how to do this stuff we're learning, and he's learning all the knowledge I got from Wesley at the same time.
Mm.
From a little boy.
I always say there's just obviously I'm a little bit well-rounded in martial arts myself, but man,
Yeah.
boxing just teaches you so much more depth about combat.
That's the greatest
You know?
self-defense in the world besides Muay Thai. But boxing's different. The hands are the first thing going to get to the face, man.
But even like some of the MMA guys that I work with now, I'm telling you, boxing angle. Like I work with guys, both of the guys I work with, I try to make it where they're strikers first, right? Even though one of them was very accomplished in grappling. But the
Yeah.
point is, even from a striker's perspective, boxing angles really do help you defend takedowns and
Big
even
time.
evade takedowns, because it's a battle of foot placement and hip alignment, especially with the
Yeah.
takedowns. When you take in consideration distance control and
Yep.
boxing angles,
Yep.
it can really take you. That's why
Yeah.
I hate when people make it. I hate when people make it seem like a striker has no chance against like a hardcore wrestler in MMA,
Yeah.
because if you really understand distance management and angles, especially at a boxer's level angles,
Yep.
you
Yeah.
can go a long way. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah. It's a real toolbox right there, man. I tried to teach
They
that
got to
to the
get to
whole
your hip.
Quintella team, and they're really some tough guys. They took all that in. At where Alex Quintella is in Ridley,
Mm-hmm.
Abraham, Abe Charles is his name, Liberian fighter. He's an Art of War champion, MMA. I trained him. I couldn't go because of my back, but the whole team went up, and he fought his first pro boxing fight, beat the guy from New York who had all these accolades in boxing, and Abe didn't. He was just an MMA guy, but just spent a couple weeks with me, 6 weeks, got him up there to beat the guy, but they robbed him because that was their hometown kid. Golden Glove champ and all. And my guy that only had 6 weeks boxing training went up there in his first fight and beat that guy to death. And they took the win from him because it went decision. But it's all about angles, bro.
Listen,
I said the same thing.
and I'm not even surprised that it played out that way. I see it all the time from the amateurs to the pros, especially at the lower levels. It's very fugazi. You know what I mean? They'll just make up whatever they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
it's
give the
kind of
victory
wild.
to who they.
You would think in this day and age
Yeah.
they wouldn't do that with all the proof we have with our own cameras. You're like, what? How did you score this, bro? He just beat this guy half to death for 2 straight rounds, and I guess I don't know.
But
It's always going to be
but
there.
even I'm also not surprised that you can train a guy to have success in boxing without difficulty. You know why? Because especially at the lower levels, like literally the basics will take you very, very far.
Yeah,
Like
that's
it's just
right.
a little stuff you just talked about.
Yep.
Guys really don't know little stuff. Like I don't even want to say too much because then other people will feel like I'm throwing shade at them. But the point is, listen, people. I'm seeing guys do so many things wrong. Not that I don't want to act like I got it all figured out, but at the very least, we know that blocking a punch is something you do when you have no other options left. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm seeing guys using that as their first line of defense, and just little things like that. Even in the amateurs, like it's ridiculous. So yeah, when you actually instill some of the stuff that
Yeah.
into a guy that's already a tough guy and a fighter, even if
I'll
he's an
tell you
MMA
what
fighter.
Wesley's training method was for Myron Taylor when he was fighting guys, or like Brian Payton fought Razai Bramble, who at the time was like lightweight champ. 3 rounds, straight defense. The other guy is straight 3 rounds on you for offense. And I'm not talking about playing. And then it's vice versa. And in between that time, when the guy's on defense, you better be working every fundamental why that guy's only doing offense. He's not trying to knock you out, but he's going to bust your mouth if you're doing something wrong. And that was also Wesley's method too, was to make sure by the time you got to your first pro fight, your defense was impenetrable and you knew how to lose while not looking like you're losing if you couldn't fight back. It was that kind of level, man. And he brought you to that level by force. Like you were going to learn it or you weren't going to make it in that gym. You had to go somewhere else, you know? Go back to Kensington Rambler where the kids are at.
So I love what you just said because a lot of people will I'll just simplify it. You know, get on your bicycle. You know what I mean? Like little stuff like that. You know what I mean? How to, not that anyone goes into a fight trying to lose or anything, but sometimes you got to get on your bicycle. You know?
No.
And I mean, sometimes you got to lift to fight another round. It is what it is.
That's right.
Survival is a tool as well in fighting.
But I always taught Joe that I felt cocky enough to say that I can make it look like I'm beating him and I'm losing. And they ask how, and I don't know how. You're way better than me at explaining that. But I just know, like you say, I know just how to stay out of reach. I know just what angle to be at. And the best that I can, unless he figures it out, just to be at the right angle where I'm just taking the most of the power off and tying up and looking around and trying to turn them. You know, and that's its own fight in itself. That's why I went and I took judo, because I wanted to be the guy that knew how to control the clinch, manipulate the clinch. And when you get to that level, then you study Muay Thai and then you really are comfortable in the clinch. And then now you're not afraid. Even when you feel like you're losing, now you're not afraid because you're not just the master of the hands, but the clinch too.
Judo and Muay Thai translated into boxing beautifully, man. I could only imagine.
I mix it all together. That's why you've seen that footwork on my that I just add all three of them philosophies together, you know, just put that in there. Jiu-jitsu has helped my brain so much because it's made me go back through all the boxing, go all through the detail and find out if there's any basics that I missed that I can go ahead and turn into a Japanese sword now. Because that's what jiu-jitsu taught me. Like, make sure you refine one move at a time and make sure it's perfect. And if it's not, come back to it and keep going. If you want to be a really good boxer, I think Terrence Crawford, to me, is like the best example. Because in jiu-jitsu, you can be a black belt passing only on your good side, but might only be blue belt level over here. But then you look at a guy like Crawford, he's great black belt on the orthodox side, and he's a black belt on that side. And how many people get taught to be that good on both sides? I do that, but I only do that because I understood that through jiu-jitsu. Wesley only taught you one dimensional. You're orthodox, that's your thing. If you're that, he never taught you to switch. Because if you're really good at what you are, you don't have to, I guess. I don't know.
It's rare. It's definitely rare, but there's a time. I believe myself that after you have like experience and you have some fights and stuff, go ahead, man. You can start switching. Now, obviously, boxing is different. And MMA and kickboxing, very, very popular. Like it's a must to start switching. You know what I mean? Like so many more options and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But boxing, it's a little different. I had to learn how to do both for more as a coach than anything. You know what I mean? Just so I could be able to hold mitts and understand southpaws better and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I don't like to hold mitts for southpaws.
Nah, yeah.
I can, but I don't like it. I screw it up all the time. I could do the other side, but not southpaw. That makes me a bad coach, right?
Listen, this is my whole thing. I tell guys all the time, at the end of the day, I can't get it wrong even if I wanted to. Like when you just have the understanding in your mind of how things are supposed to be and everything, you can't mess it up, really. Even if the pad work doesn't look the smoothest and stuff, like if you know what you're doing and you see the Lego pieces to the puzzle coming together correctly, like you just have the aptitude for fighting, right? You can't really mess it up as a coach.
I can teach him how to fight from southpaw, but I don't like to hold the pad as a southpaw guy. Like I'll wind up saying 1, 2, and I start thinking to the other side every time. But I know how to fight southpaw, but I don't. For a pad holder, that's not my game, man. Wesley didn't hold pads until 2 weeks before you fought. That's how it was in the 80s. You didn't get to hold pads because he was an old man. He wasn't going to hold pads for everybody all day. And Tony Thornton, he
A
would
lot of
only hold
damage.
pads for Tony like 7 days before the fight. He didn't need it. The foundation was so
Nah,
solid, there was no reason, you know?
so my first kickboxing gym was the same exact way. We had a whole gym full of people. The guy was not giving mitt work and pad work to everybody. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It was just a
yeah.
lot of drilling, a lot of sparring, a lot of shadow boxing, and obviously they walked around and made sure everybody was doing everything correctly. So I had my first fight without ever doing pads as
Yeah.
well. I agree.
So here's
I
a great
agree.
question for you, and I know you know it. Name a fighter who doesn't care about all that stuff, all that pad work, and made his whole career off of just being in that ring sparring.
That's
That's
Tony.
right, bro.
James
That's right.
Tony.
It was so James Tony will always be the reference and be like, look, you don't need all that, dude. Stay in that ring and spar, dude, and you'll come up. That's how I thought. That's how we
The
were taught.
biggest I will admit I use a lot of mitt work. I do a
Yeah.
lot of pad work with my guy, but it's
Good
purposeful. It's
conditioning.
not. We're not. No, we're not doing none of that. You know what I mean? I only the only advantage that I feel like I have with the pad work is that it's instant correction. I'm only doing one
Yeah.
on one stuff right now. I don't. If
Yeah.
I was teaching group classes, there's no way I'd be able to just do all the mitt work. It would be guys would be on the bag and guys would be lined up shadow boxing, and we would all just be doing. I would be calling out what they need to do, and I would just
Yeah.
correct everybody accordingly. But because
Yeah.
I'm really just doing one on one stuff with people right now, I do a lot of mitt work and stuff. But
This
it's
world
the
needs good
purpose is
coaches
not.
because a lot of fighters don't make good coaches, man. Even good fighters that I know,
Yeah,
they don't make good coaches. So we really need good coaches out there. They need fatherly figure type mentors, not just another coach. You got that. I've seen that quality since the day you started that channel, man. 2 years ago, I believe now. It's been 2 years, right? Close to
going
it.
on the second year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I spotted it right away.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, one thing about me, I'll say I'm smart because I know I'm not smart. See, the thing that I
That's
believe
right.
will take me
Yeah.
far, I'm not afraid. The problem is nowadays I don't really have a lot of questions. I feel like not that I'm a Mr. Know-it-all, but it's like I kind of understand a lot more than I did when I started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but the thing that I feel like really helped me level up is because I never been too proud to admit that I might need to get better at something. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that mindset constantly trying to figure out how I can get better. What is it that I don't know? What is it that I need to get better at? Like just where improve overall as a coach. I believe
Yeah.
that helped me level up tremendously. And I'm still leveling up. I still have a long way to go myself as well. Every fighter is a new puzzle to solve. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Every fighter has their own style. Every every time they fight somebody, they fight a different opponent that has a different style, that has a different game plan, and there's always a new puzzle to solve. So I
Yeah.
don't want to put too much out on tape, just because I got some guys right now that were specifically drilling. I got a guy that's fighting on the 6th, one of my MMA guys. You know what I mean? And it's just like I'm always thinking of other ways to help them evolve, and that me helping them evolve is me evolving. You know what I mean? Taking away how to taking away one specific punch, one specific kick in itself is just a puzzle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's yeah, I love it, man. I love coaching. It's a fun. It's something I'm just naturally good at.
And you
I
know the
could be
best
doing
part of
anything.
that, especially when you spot them fighting against themselves, and you're the one that's aware of it to be able to fix it, so they stop fighting themselves.
Listen, and so I. It's funny you say that. I had a
Yeah.
guy reach out to me. Let me know, like, yo, and I'm glad he did this.
Mm.
Kind of like just vent, like, man, I'm going through a lot, like, man,
Yeah.
work, family, all this stuff. And he said, don't think I'm like complaining. And I'm like, bro, I'm glad you did that because
Yeah.
me putting all my effort in training you in the gym for a fight without knowing what's going on in your mind, all
Yeah.
that effort is a waste. I can make you really sharp, but if your mind's not in the right place when it's time to get in the cage or get in the ring,
Yep.
it's all a waste, bro. If your mind has to be in the right place. So yeah,
That's
let
right.
me know when you're going through. I'm here for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, because this is another big thing. People see this is one of the things that pisses me off about coaching, bro. Like, don't tell somebody what to. You gotta understand. you're helping somebody get ready when they're about to essentially put their life on the line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever it is you're telling them to do, it is life or death. That's how I take it. It's
It
life or
is.
death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I take this stuff very serious, and I do
No
believe that
punch, man.
not enough. I do believe not enough coaches take it
Yeah.
serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see
To
it.
me, this stuff is it's life or death. I mean, I don't speak negativity. I don't want to manifest bad negativity into my life or any of my guys' life, or none of that. But the point is, this is the hurt business. When you get in the ring, when you get in the cage, somebody's got to get hurt either way.
Yeah.
You should be trying to hurt the guy. They're
There
trying to
should
hurt
be a
you.
growing concern for them to be not sparring 100% with small gloves and no headgear and no protectiveness at all. The mouthpiece is not enough. Not to be
No,
doing it like
yeah,
that.
I agree. I definitely
Not,
agree. Hey,
and
so
they spar with them MMA gloves, you know?
absolutely, yeah. You. The thing is, so
Man,
to some extent, I understand why guys do it with MMA fighters, obviously, because getting hit with 16-ounce gloves is not going to feel the same as it is with whatever it is, 4-ounce, 6-ounce gloves when you get
I
in the
know.
cage. You do kind of need to feel you kind of need to feel what the fire is really like when you get in the fire. I understand,
Yeah.
but I don't think it should just be a brain bashing
Mm,
activity. You know what I mean? I
yeah.
think it should be sophisticated. You know,
Them gym
for
wars
sure.
ruin you. They ruin you.
Yeah, they take years off your life for
Yeah.
sure. And that's another that's well, boxing is worse with the gym wars than MMA is, especially modern MMA.
Big
I'm
time.
not really sure how many MMA, like any MMA gyms that I've been around when I've seen their sparring, it's been a little moderate. I didn't see too many hardcore sessions. Now, granted, I'm sure there's times when they lock their doors. It's only the no outsiders allowed, and they do like the hard sparring. But I agree with you. I'm not a big fan of the
Yeah.
super hard sparring. There's a time and a place for it, though.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a certain amount of. Even
You
speaking of
get the
Terrence
accidental
Crawford, even
cuts all the time too, right? No
that's
headgear,
the
you know?
only thing. That's the only thing, and it's super easy. You already know that. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of Terrence Crawford, even he said that unfortunately you do need a certain dose of heavy sparring, right? Because
Yeah.
when it's fight night, that's you don't want to experience what the real thing's gonna feel like on the day of the fight. You want to get a dose of that
Yeah.
before the fight. Just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to go back a little bit, back to your history a little bit. How old were you when you got involved in combat sports overall?
Nine and a
Like your
half.
first experience?
May
9.5.
1981. I remember walking into Kensington Ramblers.
So boxing was the first.
Yeah, that's all we had. The gyms were like every couple of blocks, and I kept getting beat up. I lived with a single mom, and I got tired of it and told the counselor at the school, I said, I'm not coming back to school. I used to run away from school as a young kid because I was getting bullied. Because my mom, she moved around, so I was always getting taken to different schools. And somebody said, you ought to go to that gym over there by Scanlon Playground. And I went over there and just started boxing. Back and forth to
Typical
Harrogate.
story.
The Harrogate was better. The Ramblers was okay. I didn't really like that crowd, but I liked Charlie Skrilla. Charlie Skrilla was always a gentleman. Plus, he was a referee, so I knew being there, I felt safe with him. I even could tell that at 10, 11 years old. And then I went to my dad's, and then I stopped for a while, and then I go back. Then I got to go to Joe Frazier's for a little bit. That was, man. You can't
Yeah.
not go to that guy's gym and come out and not think that that's all you care about now is that left hook. It was like, so then after I left his and went back and told Wesley, when I met Wesley at 14. And that's when I started training with Wes at 14, going on 15. And I told him about that left hook and all. And so Wesley would teach me how to make the Joe Frazier hook look 7 times better than the way Joe would, while doing Joe's
Oh,
move plus Wesley's move mixed together.
Joe's move was what, to dip down a little bit?
Yeah. But you notice too, when Joe would dip down and he would lunge across, there were times where he would step across with the right hip and come horizontal like he was going to sprint that way and take your whole head off. He killed Bob Foster with that left hook. That guy was gone after that. That looping one where he's got you looking up and down all the time. And Wesley's was
Mm-hmm.
kind of like a Cobra style where it had a snap to it. So I kind of used Joe's where I would hunt and then I'd snap. So I would use Joe's hook and Wesley's at the same time. I would use Joe's momentum forward and I would use Wesley's footwork to get me there.
Brilliant. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
that way, you know what I mean? And I mean quick. That's why I used to be afraid to lift weights and was like a toothpick kid because we only heard back then, yo, if you lift weights, you'll be slow. And that was my only advantage was being slow or being super fast. So I never played with weights, man. I just did push-ups and I ran. I ran a lot.
Hey, listen, to be fair, I'm still a big believer in calisthenics. Pull-ups, push-ups, and dips and squats and sit-ups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Herschel Walker style. You know what I mean?
Extreme isometrics.
Yeah.
Most people don't have the disciplined mind to do that.
For sure. You could do pause. You could add some pauses into your push-ups and pull-ups if you want to. If you feel like it's too easy to do. And my whole thing is, even if you before you even say pull-ups are too easy, can you do 20? Can you do 30? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then start adding a little pause in there. But yeah, pull-up. I agree. A pull-up bar and some push-ups is all you really need.
I always push the Russian method on it with the push-ups. Try to get them to come down 30 seconds and then come up 30 seconds. And if they got a break or maybe wait there for a little bit, but try and go down 30 seconds and come up. And, you know, I mean, all that's going to do is just make you a bear, right? But a lot of guys don't want to do it.
Dude,
You show them, and then I'll see them again, and they're sitting over here repping them out. I'm like, hey, what happened to them Russian ones you said you were going to do? They don't like to do it because they can't seem to calm their mind to stay in the pain. That's why I love the Russians, because they stay in their pain, slow, hard.
yeah.
And that's why most of the guys are afraid to fight them.
But that's one of those things where I don't even think people understand what a game changer that is until they try. Because, you know, some things just you don't comprehend just from hearing it. No, like it's two different worlds. Doing those type of push-ups, right, with slow on purposefully slow and pauses, and dude, it's like it's literally it'll make you stronger than just lifting heavy weights. It really will, and it gives you that caveman strength.
Yeah,
You know?
I feel that. I feel it. Grip. You got to have a killer grip too, man.
For sure, for sure. There's like statistics out there that no matter what sport you play or whatever, just regardless, like grip strength is a huge factor. Whether it's punching power, obviously grip strength is a ridiculous factor for grappling, things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your forearms blow up from 5-6 minute rounds of grappling against somebody where it's nonstop. You can't barely close your hands. I competed
And
all the way up
obviously,
to I competed all the way up to the black belt level in jiu-jitsu. And I was 2-stripe brown belt. My back got bad because I had the operation and I just kind of just like slowly let it go away. But I was competing even at 45 years old in expert division.
all right. How did you specifically get involved in jiu-jitsu when you met the guy that was doing sambo?
No. In Jersey, I drove an oil truck, and one day I delivered oil to a guy that was a cop, and he did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a place called Steve Maxwell's in Philadelphia. And I trained at a place by Ray Marquez. He had a judo place called Violent Judo. So I stopped doing judo, and I trained with him one time, and he smashed me. And I said, I don't want to do judo no more. I want to learn this shit. So then I started training with him like 2 days a week in Philadelphia after work, and I never stopped. I got hooked. And then by the time I got to my third year, I found Steve at a tournament, and then I wanted to train with Steve because Steve beat everybody in the bracket like it was this. And his dad, I went to school with his stepdad. His stepdad said, yo, you know, Steve's only been training 6 months. And I said, no way. He goes, yeah, man. And I knew the stepdad who raised him. So I went with them because then I got back to my Philly roots, even though I lived in South Jersey. So, and that's how I became part of the Fight Factory team after seeing Steve compete one year. Yeah. It's a big history, man.
Dude, that's the thing that's so interesting to me, the Fight Factory. Just because, it seems, right now there's a solid squad in Philadelphia, like packed of UFC fighters.
Yeah.
But if you look back at your guys' era, you guys had even more dogs back then come out of Philadelphia, right?
Yep.
You had Eddie Alvarez, I believe. What Paul Felder is your era as well, right? Like guys
I
that you
trained with
trained
Paul.
with.
I knew Paul. Paul was Daniel Gracie. He trained at Will Martinez's camp for a little while up there at Frankfurt and Ron. I knew Paul. Paul was always a gentleman. I always loved Paul. He was a good dude. If you don't think of him as a fighter, he was just a great person all around. That's no wonder he became so successful as a commentator because he was always a gentleman, but really tough and committed.
Hey,
Really tough.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know why nobody would think good things of him as a fighter, though. Either he was a
Yeah,
great fighter.
he was the best. I don't know
Irish,
how he wasn't champ. I thought he was the best in the bracket, man. He was a beast. Muay Thai
the
wise, he was
Irish
great.
Dragon,
Yeah,
and that's what I was gonna say. He was a Muay Thai. He was a Muay Thai
yeah.
guy, right?
It
Pretty
made
much.
me mad he never became champ, man, because I knew he was worthy of it. He definitely.
Oh, for sure, sure.
If I see him, I call him champ if I see him because that's a guy that's a champion right there. He didn't have to wear the belt to have it. He is one. Same like Sean Brady.
He-
Sean Brady ain't got the belt, but I knew Sean when he first started MMA. And Joe was only like 13, 14 years old, taking him all the way up to Fox Chase. So I got to watch the birth of the Dawkins brothers too, that fight for Will Martinez. They fight in the UFC. I saw the two brothers. They started as kids, man. And Joe was there up sparring there, and I'm up there boxing with all them guys, teaching all the MMA guys how to box. I saw them all start.
You're pretty much a part of the entire MMA
Yeah,
scene of Philadelphia,
yeah, I know
one way or
everybody.
another. Wow.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I got to get into both. I got the boxing world, I know all them, and I got to know all the MMA guys. Same kind of people.
And yeah, for sure, of course. And
So,
you caught the first era when MMA first emerged, and you caught the new wave, the younger guys like that are in the UFC now. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah,
And you were there when the Gracies opened up in Philly, right?
yeah. Daniel Gracie. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm very close with Daniel Gracie. Very close.
And you basically got what, over 40 something years in martial arts overall, right?
Since '81.
Something or
Yeah.
more. Yeah, it's more than 40 years. Wow.
Yeah. I always
Non-stop.
wished back then. I said, man, sometimes, because I got picked on a lot. I said, I wish this stuff had been around as a kid, like the whole MMA thing. I wouldn't have probably got beaten up so much.
It's all part of the game. I mean,
I learned
listen,
what
you
cruelty was
started.
at 12 years old. Do you know what cruelty is? When they tell a skinny kid to walk across the street, and they made me walk across the street like it was an innocent kid because I was only an artist. I wasn't really a fighter in my up here. And I walk across the street, and the big guy punched me right in my face. There's like 15 black dudes standing on the corner. And he's like, Pyfer, hey. And I'm walking over like I'm going over to be friends. Boom! Punched me right in my face. It didn't even move my head. And he was a big guy, like 230. I was just a small kid. I walked away. I was defeated. By the time I got home, we had the punching bag that was in the basement. From that day on, I would hit that bag 3 times the amount the coach said to hit when we were in the gym for only 30, 40 minutes. So I got to where I got even with everybody, man. I got them all. I made sure by the time I was 16, I beat the shit out of every one of the fucking guys that were bullying us. They would rape girls in our school. I went to a school that was just like bad, man. My stepsister got raped by the same dude that punched me in my face. That's the
Well, you grew
environment
up
we
in
grew
North
up.
Philly, right?
Yeah,
You grew up in Kensington, right?
yeah. I went to Harding Junior High.
Yeah,
That's where all the rapes and the fight and the violence was at. It's called Harding Junior High. Terrible place.
the rough stop. That's
Yeah.
definitely a rough stop right there.
I know. And you can't
It's
help but
definitely.
carry the chip because they force you to have the chip, You can't be the innocent guy that likes to draw. So then they force you to become mean. And then you're like, the only way you can become mean in the neighborhood is to go box. There is no other way to learn how to fight there. It's just boxing. Purebred, man. And then lo and behold, you walk in to learn how to fight, and there's nothing but champions around. Anthony Boyles at Harrogate. I love Anthony's super fast lightweight. And then all the other guys in the neighborhood, you name it. It's incredible. Meldrick Taylor, Myron, their brother Eldrick, who came out of the Navy. I got to spar with him. Smoked that dude. Not that I'm talking bad on him, but they
No.
got me to the point where I could beat their brother. They gave me that gift. So yeah, it's great, man. Nate
Yeah,
Miller.
you're talking. Yeah, you're just talking from a fighter's perspective.
Yeah.
You already acknowledge listen, we've all taken our fair share.
I miss
It
them
is what
guys,
it
man.
is.
But Meldrick Taylor, man, that was a scene. That was a sight to be seen. To see a guy who's an Olympian walking into your gym to sit there and support his brother Myron Taylor, who was Wesley's fighter. Meldrick had Lou Duva, but when he would come and he come in because he was rich, he had all the real nice yellow sparring equipment, and you're there as a kid and you're watching him just light up his own brother, bop bop bop, the speed. And you know what they say about him? He probably was one of the fastest welterweights of all time, even faster than Sugar Ray Leonard. That would have been a real super fight. Who would win between Meldrick and Leonard?
I mean, it's kind of hard to pick against Sugar Ray Leonard. You know,
I would pick Leonard only because I think that Leonard is more mean. He don't get knocked out so easy.
Also, for a guy my age, all those guys are more like the legends. You know what I mean? And I'll admit, of course, Sugar Ray. I'm way more educated on Sugar Ray Leonard because he's just more. He got a bigger legend to his name. You know what I mean?
That's right, he does.
So,
and he fought bigger opposition. If you think Meldrick Taylor never fought no Tommy Hearns, he never fought no Hagler, dude. Like, come on. I think, and he never fought nobody like Duran, hands of stone. So that's why you're right. I would pick Leonard too, man, hands down. I think Leonard would smoke Mayweather too.
Think so?
Yeah.
See, that's more my. That's more.
He put that abuse on him, man.
Yeah.
You never know,
dude. I'm Team Floyd, man. I can't go against Floyd.
It would be a fight to see, though, wouldn't it, man?
Oh my man! But I'll tell you one thing: in their prime, that might be the greatest fight ever to happen if they could have fought. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ever to happen. I love. I mean, obviously, I love Floyd, but man, Sugar Ray Leonard was. You got me like replaying some of his fights in my mind now. That guy was electric.
Floyd's a genius. He's a perfectionist, man. Everything's just right with him. It's a shame he gets the bad name that he gets, but technically he's a professor. What he says goes, man. He does it technically. You can't put him down if you don't like him. Who cares? But technically, he's the top guy. Yeah.
I agree. You could sit there and nitpick at a couple bad little moments, and you got the guy that knocked his tooth out. I forgot his name, and he made a chain out of it. Yeah, listen, it happens. It is what it. But like, he beat everybody. Anybody he had a close fight with, he gave him a rematch. You know what I mean?
But anybody who knows fighting knows there's some nights you might be battling against yourself. You don't know what family issues are going on. He always fought with his dad, so you never know. You know, he's a son. You never know what's hurting his heart. By the time he gets to that ring, it can only be one thought, and sometimes you'll dwell on it, and next thing you know, you're 3 rounds in. You can't believe you're still thinking about the past. You never know.
Absolutely. See, that's little stuff right there. Obviously, you know, like you have to be really into the fight world to really understand. You know what I mean? 100%.
Customado used to say to Tyson, remember, your mind is not on your work.
Absolutely.
He would call it out.
Yep, brilliant.
Your mind's not on your work, so he'd call it out.
I might even steal that to me. Not steal it,
you
but
should
pay a tribute to him.
But it's got to keep it going, man. Keep it going.
It reminds me of Bill Belichick, not to switch topics to football. Listen, we're on to Cincinnati.
Great coach.
Do your job. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's something to listen to, man.
It's true. You know what I mean? Because I mean, it's a different sport, but the mindset is very similar, man. Listen, you're not focused on the task at hand right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's the truth. You know what I mean? Like you said, your mind's not on your work. I was just telling my guy today, actually. You know, I don't want to sound too cliche, but you know, he's feeling a little bit flat. Plus, I got some family stuff going on, so he has to.
Yeah, man, it's heavy.
But I'm just, basically the conversation ended with, listen, it's you versus you anyway, man. We don't care about what the other guy's gonna do.
It is.
We don't care about what the guy's gonna do, man.
Yep.
We're preparing. We're ready. You got the answers for everything that's gonna come your way. You know how to counter it, how to offset it all.
Yeah.
So whatever he decides to do, we got the answers. We don't care. It's you versus you.
It all depends on who the student is. What Mike was an insecure kid who was beaten up and molested. So Cuss's job was to give him super self-esteem, like I did little Joe. He got beat up, and I said, all right, now you're going to have to train. I'm not going to allow him to be a kid that just gets that wimpy stuff. So he became that. Same with Cuss with Mike. When you got a really insecure dude, he can become dangerous, man, because he's so scared he lashes out. Now the hardest thing about training Mike is to get him not to lash out and be scared of his pain, his trauma. That takes a special coach to get somebody to knock his trauma down, to get him to be able to focus on his work. That's not an easy thing.
You're right. And
You're
they
not just a
remember they had
boxing
to
coach. They don't think you're just a boxing coach. You're like, hey man, I'm his life coach, dude. I'm his dad. I'm everything to him when I'm training him. Not just a guy to teach him how to box.
remember they also, if I'm not mistaken, they had Mike Tyson. The thing with they like not brainwashed, but they
He went
use
to
like
hypnotize.
psychosis.
Yeah, hypnotist. Yep.
Hip,
Yeah, at 12 years
hypnotist.
old.
Yeah, they hypnotize him and stuff,
Yeah.
man. That's stuff,
Yeah, I never heard of that level
man.
stuff where they really wanted him to be a killer, that's for sure.
Especially back then, man, they were ahead
Yeah.
of their time with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, the guy from the group home where Mike Tyson was called Cuss to check him out, and Cuss knew right away that's going to be the
Bobby
future
Stewart.
heavyweight champ.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. He's actually a really nice
Mike.
guy. He was one of the counselors at that place.
Yeah.
Good
Oh
family
yeah,
guy.
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Mike broke his nose when he was like 12 or something like that. If I'm not
He could have
mistaken.
ignored Mike and let him be like the rest of the guys in there, but that takes a good guy to say, hey, man, I could give you one shot if you go and be a good kid, and this guy will work with you. Imagine that, dude.
Is that
Like the
guy still
lottery.
alive?
I don't know.
Is that guy? That's I'm gonna look into that because
I know.
holy cow,
He should have got some
he's
attention,
based.
don't you think?
That's dude. That in itself is an interesting documentary. The
Yeah, I'd
guy
love
who
to see you
essentially
interview
connected.
him, man.
God willing, maybe one day I would if he's still alive and everything. But wow,
That would be neat.
see that I'm interested in that kind of stuff because the whole world knows Mike Tyson and we love him and he deserves all the fame if he even enjoys it. But it's like it all happened because this one connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd be interested to pick that guy's brain if he's still alive. That'd be interesting.
How old were you
to
in
talk to that guy.
1988?
I was 10.
Yeah.
I was 10
I was 17.
years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when all that greatness was going on at 17 years old. Timmy coming through, Witherspoon, Milton Bone, and it was at 17. That one, it was 1989. I'm talking about. That was the year that it just seemed like the gym was at its best.
89. I was 1. I'm sorry. I thought you said 98. 89. I was 1 year.
Yeah, I've been doing this since before you were born, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's great to see you get an
89,
interest in it, man.
Dude, listen, it's in my DNA too, man. You know what I mean? It's in my DNA. Rest in peace to my grandfather, man. He forced me into this stuff, but at the time, you kind of hate it because when you're forced to do it, you hate it like any kid. But now it's just like I realized what I had. You know what I mean?
You know why
Like,
my kids
I'm
hated
glad.
it? Because they lived on a farm and I had horses. So everything that I taught them was always outside the farm and that they didn't see it. And I'm like, hey, this can happen, that can happen. So all it ever seemed like when I raised my kids and told them to fight was fear mongering, but they never got to see what I saw in the neighborhoods. So you had to kind of show it to them in their own way and make them fight each other because they didn't have to worry about that. My kids went to school and they weren't afraid of getting beat up by nobody. Now look how I grew up, right? I'm getting beat up by everybody. They got the red carpet life. If anybody messed with my kids, they'd be gone the next day. So they knew that.
Yeah, listen, it's hard having a dad that's that's like you, like a tough guy. You know what I mean?
You just got to appreciate your dad's coverage. When your dad's covering you, you got to respect it.
Facts, yeah. See, I didn't even have a dad, so
yeah.
I didn't even have a dad, so I agree. You really got to you got to really appreciate your father. I agree. I definitely agree. Listen, where I grew up at, I grew up in a pretty rough stop too. I grew up in Ukraine. You know what I mean? Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
It was pretty rough over there. I mean, none of us had a dad. None of me and my friends had a dad. I don't know what it is about over there, but back then it was very common. I have friends whose fathers died, whose fathers went to prison, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
No wonder the Bible tells us to visit the fatherless, huh? Because it's always been a problem, hasn't it? It's sad, man, when you
Yeah.
think about it,
Hey,
bro. For real. That breaks my
defend the
heart seeing these
fatherless.
kids out there, man. It's sad.
Same, same. But yeah, so
How'd you deal with it?
yeah.
Where'd you get the
Well,
confidence
lucky
at,
for
you
me,
know?
yo, honestly, just combat. And
Yeah.
lucky for me, I had my grandfather, a very strong, solid guy. You'd
Yeah.
like him, you know what I mean? Stand up guy. Also has a fighting background, but back there, life was different. You had the military to kind of. I've seen a lot of guys who were supposed to be legendary fighters, but the type of life you have back there, no one
Yeah.
cares about sports. When you're 18, you go to the military. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
he was also grew up fighting and all that kind of like as a fighter and all that kind of stuff. But obviously, after the military, you have to come home and become a man, work, support your family, all that kind of stuff. So he instilled all that stuff into me. But not only actually fighting, he made
Yeah.
me read a lot of crazy books. He made me read a lot of crazy books at a young age, like Russian literature, all that like classic stuff like
Yeah.
Dostoevsky, uh, then you got Tolstoy, The War and Peace, and all those type of books. Those are listen,
Yeah.
that stuff is hard. There's a lot of college students that struggle reading them kind of books. You know what I mean? I
Yeah. I
read a
believe
lot of
it.
that stuff. I read a lot. I read a lot of that stuff before I was even like 10. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So besides forcing me to train and fight and compete and all that type of stuff, he also made me read a lot of strong literature. So I believe that kind of
That's
helped me
awesome.
level up my IQ overall. Yeah. So that's how I got involved. So, but it's funny because now that you said that, I've had my fair share of street fights and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But ironically, my grandfather, rest in peace, he has ran out of the house a couple times and chased a couple older kids that I was fighting.
No way.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like it
Ukraine's
reminded me of
got
when you
tough
said that.
neighborhoods then, huh?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Rough spots,
Oh
huh?
yeah. Listen,
Shame.
well, there's different. Ukraine in itself, like it's only two things. It's either a city or a village. You either live in the city or a village. The city
Oh.
life is very simple.
Yeah.
Like I lived in a 5-story building. Me and my mom lived on the 5th floor. Our grandparents lived on the 2nd floor. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it's all just high risers, urban environment, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Now you
Uh,
like being here in the States in PA?
is it
Like,
like it? You said?
yeah, you like it here in the country?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Listen, by
Yeah.
now I'm Americanized. By
Yeah.
now I'm Americanized. I've been here for a long time. I'm an American citizen by now. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
really acknowledge any other. This is
Yeah.
the only country I care about right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Have you been out there fishing in
I'm
the
good.
ocean out here or no? Like in New
Yeah, of
Jersey and stuff like
course.
that?
Yeah,
The real like the Atlantic?
yeah.
Yeah.
All I've done all.
That's a nice
I've never
life,
really
man.
been. It's a good life, but I'll tell you one thing. Me and my girl, like ironically, we're both from Northeast Philly over here,
Yeah.
where the Russian speaking, the Ukrainians and the Russians live at. But
Yeah.
ironically, we both grew up living like in Philadelphia, but now we love the nature life more. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
it's better.
Which is why we live, which is why we bought a house in the suburbs. We don't live in Philadelphia. We live
Yeah,
on the
that's good,
outskirts.
man.
You know,
Yeah.
and like our vacations now consist of like going to the woods for a week, somewhere in the Poconos or upstate New York or something like that. You know what I mean?
You take her to
Just
go to the Amish
unplug.
country and see all the horses on the road?
Lancaster,
Lancaster. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we go out there sometimes, but we prefer Poconos more than anything. You know
Yeah,
what I
me
mean?
too. Yeah. Yeah.
I love the Poconos. A couple
Beautiful.
years ago, we a couple years ago we actually, speaking of Mike Tyson, used to go like literally right up by Catskill, New York,
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
We would stay out there for a week, 2 weeks. Sometimes we had a friend that owned the property out there. We would just use their property. Uh, but now we just we go to the Poconos for a couple weeks for a
Yeah.
vacation. You know what I mean?
Beautiful up there,
But
man.
it's funny because growing up, that's all I've known is city, city, city. You know what I mean? Like train
Yeah.
stations, bus stops, busy roads, and high rise buildings and stuff like that. And now we both kind of grew up like that, and now we just can't wait to get away from that. We got away from that as soon as we could. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Move right to the suburbs.
It's quiet that way. But then if you're going to get into a boxing gym, you kind of be in the inner city where there's millions of people trying to come in. That's where you find your talent.
So obviously that's the truth, right? And there's
Yeah.
always the stigma about how boxing is a poverty sport, and that's the truth. But man, I'm gonna tell you
Yeah.
like this, man. For example, my stepson. I mean, he lived in Northeast Philadelphia, but I mean, he's a kid. He was never been in the streets or not like that. He's a good, clean cut
Yeah.
athlete. You know what I mean? But guess what? He whoops ass in amateur
Yeah.
boxing. He's not
Yeah.
no poor disenfranchised child. He has his dad. He has me.
Yeah.
He has
He
a
don't
lot
have
of
that many
family.
battles to deal with like the inner city kid has to.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
yeah. He don't have a lot of battles. But guess what? He's whooping ass in the amateurs. And if he
That's
wants to turn
incredible.
pro, he's gonna whoop a lot of ass in the pros too. If he's
You
gonna
say,
turn
how old
pro,
is he? Like
which
15 now? 14?
he's 16. He's 16.
16.
Yeah,
Man,
he's
that's the
16. He's gonna
prime
be
age there.
17. Yeah, yeah. Listen, when I was 17 years old, I'll whoop my ass now for sure. You know what I mean? When I was 17 years old, I'd whoop
I
my
always
ass
told
right
Joe
now
my
for sure.
jab was so fast at 16 I couldn't see it.
I
Because
like
that's how
it.
Anthony Boyle was, and I wanted to be like Anthony Boyle. That's who inspired me to be like that. That's why he really didn't do a lot of stuff other than gymnastic training, no weights. Anthony Boyle, when he would literally shadow box, you couldn't see his hands. All you saw was a blur. And you almost think, is there something wrong with me? This is no way. There's no way
Nah,
that guy's that fast. I'm talking about a blur, man, at 135.
no, I know what you're saying. I know
Wow.
what you're saying.
Man.
As much as I hate, well, my whole channel is based on giving value on Instagram, so I don't mind saying this. But listen, I'm pretty fast too. I'm big as shit. The point
Yeah,
is,
yeah, you got
I've
some
had
flexibility
coaches.
with that kick too, bro.
Yeah, my coaches, some of my coaches when I was younger, guess what? When we would do bag work, mitt work, and no matter what it was, bro, this is how you get fast. They fucking tell you, sorry for cursing. Don't even worry about the power. Just touch the bag as fast as you can. Just
Yeah,
touch it as fast as you can. And that's how you develop the speed. And
yeah,
speed is power. You
that's
learn
right.
once you learn how to touch the bag as fast as you can, eventually, I'm not saying that's all you do, but you spend a couple of rounds doing that.
Yeah,
Eventually, if you keep doing all these things, you learn how to blend the speed with
that's
the
right.
power together. I mean, but no, I'm with you on that. Speed over power any day of the week. You know what I mean?
They had a placard on the gym that came from the ringside catalog back then. You can only order ringside product, and it was on a lot of gyms. It said, "Lead with speed, follow with power."
I
Don't be
love that.
thinking about power. Only be thinking about the accuracy of that speed, and the power follows it.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
that. And the jab should be fast. It's the lowest
yeah.
commitment punch. You don't need to put a lot of weight behind the jab. You know what I
Isn't the
mean?
jab
Depends,
the only
obviously.
punch you can go in and say to somebody, "Yo, I'm gonna tune your face up, and you ain't gonna do nothing." It's always the jab that you say that about. You can't stop my jab. You can't. That thing's a real weapon, man. Look, like you said, it's a radar. It's this. It's that. It's everything, man. It's my whole life, that arm.
Everything,
Yeah.
everything.
And then as soon as
And
you get
and
into the MMA, then you start using the left back fist off the jab.
that's next
Break
level
jaws.
stuff. You're right.
Yeah, you break
For
jaws
sure.
that
Oh, for
way.
sure. Not to mention, man. Once again, right? The shots that hurt you are the ones you don't see coming, right?
Yeah, that's
And that's
right.
one that till this day, that's one that's hard to prepare for. You
That's
know what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
That's very hard. That's very
Yeah.
hard to prepare for. You know?
That's why I take that
But
anchor punch between. I took Muhammad Ali's anchor punch and Timmy's, and I created it my own way by spinning it. Timmy came over top. Ali would drop it like this, and I would take it and then run it like it was just torquing it like a screw, and then go right on the chin and drive it right into the chest bone. Everybody kind of takes somebody else's moves and you kind of mold it for your own.
that's how you got to do it.
That
That's how you
feels
got to
great
do
when
it.
it finally works. It sucks when you go to use it and it don't work in sparring. You're like, hey, this shit ain't working, dude. Take it somewhere else.
Well, listen, the reality is that's the difference between the people who make it in fighting
Yeah,
and the ones that don't, are the
yeah,
ones who are just patient and stick it out until the shit starts working. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Because once you start becoming good at something, you yourself are not gonna want to walk away from it. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
That's the reality.
I got another one
That's
for you
the
to look
reality.
up. Calvin Grove. My
Let's
little
talk
buddy.
about it.
Yeah, he fought Otoro Gotti and all. He has a trick. I don't know what fight it is. You got to look him up, research him. He's got a way of turning onto the ring over here and boom, and you never see it. He makes sure that the shoulder is hidden from you, so you or the right hand. But just and as you're going after him, he kind of gently goes onto the ring, moves over, and then surprises you out of nowhere.
Beautiful.
Calvin Grove, man.
See,
He was skinny
that's
guy, but he
called
was
real.
really good.
I love that because see, you just tapped into what fighting really is, specifically
Yeah,
in boxing.
all the
That's
history.
ring jam.
Yeah.
But that's the level. See, people don't understand the real levels of it. That's ring geometry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know more than all
There-
them guys
there-
are over there in that the UFC that are teaching boxing to them guys. Because even Joe's seen that. I look at them and I watch and I see everybody's like this invented trainer and they're boxing. And you look at even the guys that are pro boxers, you look at them, you go, they are not the pro boxers from the 70s and 80s, bro. Like they don't, I got the 40s knowledge from all the great fighters, like guys like Archie Moore and Georgie Benton. Man, I knew Georgie for like 15 years. So you can't get any better than that, can you?
no,
They
you
don't
can't
have
get
that
better than
today.
George. Yeah, no, you can't. Listen, once you say Georgie Benton, I mean, he's one of the legends too. Come on, as a
He
fighter
helped.
and
He
a coach.
helped teach Meldrick Taylor a lot of that defensive shell, the Philly shell. He's the one that made Meldrick become really, really good.
Whether he's into it, you know?
Yeah, yeah. He was man. His
Or
fights
at
were
the very
great.
least, perfected it.
Yeah.
For
And then
sure.
Richie Cates. I trained with Richie Cates, who was number 2 light heavyweight, who fought Saad Muhammad, fought Dwight Muhammad Quali. Before he became
Yeah,
Muslim, I used to train with him as a little boy, Dwight Braxton. That was Wesley's fighter too. You know how scared that was to get in the ring? Why Dwight's in there shadow boxing and he's grunting, and you're like, yeah, just throw jabs at him. He ain't going to hit you. And you see that, man. I don't see those kind of men today in the gym. It's just not the same, man. They came to fight for real, to take your life or die in there. And today it's like they're businessmen. You know, they cherry pick, they talk to the fighters, they hug each other. Back then, they weren't hugging each other before they fought. There was none of that stuff. There was none of that. We're coming to fight. I'm coming to kill you. Do you think Ray Leonard and Hagler are going to be hugging and kissing each other on the side and patting each other, and then they go in the ring the next day, and now they're they're only like giving the fans a partial show when you should have been giving them a whole full lot. So that you don't have the trainers teaching that now. Who do you have? Me, Bozy, and Boots Enos, they brought the old school back. You know, even Danny Garcia and Angel, they kept the old school there. That's why Danny's knock all these guys' heads off. You know, that's what Philadelphia's known for, the great left hook, right? Old school
for
training,
sure.
man, hardcore. I shout out to Angel Garcia too. I love him, dude. He's great people. Great people.
It's crazy because Danny Garcia went to my high school at the
No
same
way.
time as I was. We're like the same age.
Yeah.
George Washington. Too bad I stay in school, kids. But too bad I didn't really go to school. So
Danny's a hard worker,
yeah.
dude.
Oh, for
A
sure.
grinder. Hard worker. Good kid too, man. Loves his family.
Oh, great.
Look how loyal he stayed to his dad. And they had a lot of beef, but he stayed loyal to his dad no matter what. Great dude.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm glad you touched on that because
Yeah,
to me, man, there's something. I'll say maybe I sound crazy, but I think it's satanic when people try to turn you against your father.
I know.
The whole father duo,
Yeah,
the
I didn't like that either.
father-son combination.
Yep.
Dude,
Yep.
like, no, it happens in boxing so much where like
Yeah.
there's a whole stigma about the father-son combination, like father-son duo. Like, bro, yeah, he's your dad, and he's the only one that really cares about you, and the only one that wants you to be better than him.
Yep.
All these other guys, you're just another fighter to them. You're just another price tag. You're just another
The
number
dad
to them
sees
at
the
the end of the
snakes
day.
before the son does. Right?
Yeah. Now, to be fair, what I will say is, and this doesn't, I'm not saying this applies to anybody directly. I will say, regardless, yeah, as the father, maybe look, if the father is not the most qualified person in the corner, he should have the humility to let the person who is the
That's
most
right.
qualified to take
Yeah, I
it.
agree too.
You know, there's nothing wrong with that,
Big time.
right?
Yep.
But I hate when they try to make it seem like there's something wrong with the father and son duos.
Yeah.
The father is the only one that's not going to exploit the son, at least in most cases. You know what I mean?
You know what
There's
I think
there's
sucks about being the son though in the father thing is that it's hard to manage the business end and the relationship of dad versus my coach. I think it's a lot on a kid to have to constantly be listening to the same dude. I got to listen to you as dad. Now I got to listen to you as the trainer. And I think it seems like to a lot of the fighters in the past, it's overcrowding. It's too much because even Sean Porter has had those problems and they had to fix it. Um, you remember Guerrero that fought Danny Garcia, the southpaw? Him and his father, you know, they wasn't always good. So there's a lot of them where they got to get over some humps. I think it can be just you become tone deaf, is what I used to say. Because I taught Joe how to box, how to do jujitsu, took him to wrestling, took him to tournaments, and I think it becomes just too much. Like sometimes, like you just the kid doesn't know what to do. Like if you're going to be always telling him what to do as a dad and a coach and this and that, sometimes it looks like it's overwhelming. Yeah, I don't know. I was a
of
runaway,
course,
but
yeah.
I mean, I would assume it. You know.
Yeah, yeah, it's not always. I'm sure the fathers definitely need to work on it as well. I'm not saying the
Yeah.
father is always perfect. Of course,
No,
yeah.
but
It
the
takes work
dad
on
should know
both.
when to get out of the way too, like you said, so your
Yeah,
kid
for
can
sure.
make
It
it.
has to,
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah.
for sure. Because I
It's
mean, you
funny
know,
you
at the end
say
of the
about
day,
that
man.
guy. I got him. I got him right here, dude. I got him
Which
right
guy?
here.
Whoa,
That's all epoxy.
sick. Yo, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Probably on the video
Dude,
don't show,
yeah,
but it's all black and purple, deep black and purple metallic.
I can see the purple on my end here. I don't
Yeah.
know if it'll translate into the
Oh, cool.
beautiful. Man,
Really?
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. It took me a long time to make that.
So did you just perfect segue to talk about? So when did you find out you were good at that? When did you find out you had a talent for art?
Oh, the art since I was probably 4 or 5, but the woodwork, I started learning how to do woodwork um, at 14 in woodshop class in that bad school I told you about, Harding Junior High School. Mr. Brown,
Hmm.
best teacher in the world. Um, he would teach us how to cut out names. And so then one day I like to draw graffiti. So I would go to my friends that drew graffiti real good. I'm like, yo, draw this for me. And I get them to draw it and I go on the bandsaw and I cut it out, stain it, half paint, half shellac, and all that. And then he would teach us how to make clocks. And then we had metal shop class where they taught us how to make CO2 race cars on string. Then you had mechanical drawing class. Then you had screen print class. So back then, everything was all about trade, and it was like awesome time. But the woodworking was inspired by the school, my teacher. He said, you just seem to have a knack for that, man. I would cut class from science just to go down and do woodwork. I didn't want to go to them academic classes because I had like ADHD. I was slow, plus being abused at home. So I always felt safe in the shop because it smelled like firewood in the wintertime. So you kind of had the cozy feeling. So I would spend sometimes 3 hours. I would stay in three people's different class during the periods, and he'd let me cut class and stay in there because he knew I was serious about this. So I was back then selling them to kids in school. I would make the name out of graffiti from the saw and then just sell them on a piece of wood like a plaque where you router the ends. My parents taught me
Man,
to be a hustler, even as all the beef we had. The society was about work or starve, dude, sink or swim. So I was always trying to create, best I could.
dude, I could only imagine because back then, especially
Yeah,
having
easy.
that type of skill, you probably could have made a killing off of that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And to be fair, even in today's world where everything's all digital and you got all these AIs and stuff, I feel like people are actually we're coming back full circle where people actually appreciate like handcrafted stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised if, hey, who knows? Hopefully this video gets a lot of views and people start
I got
in a
Sitting
good
Bull
way
there too,
bothering
right,
you.
bro?
Man,
Yeah.
that's
I
crazy,
did
man.
gold and black on him, dude. That was my favorite one. Yeah.
Who is that though? Is that specifically somebody?
That's Sitting Bull. from the Wounded Knee
Who was
where
that?
they killed him all over there in South Dakota.
Oh.
Yeah, he was murdered. He was murdered by the U.S. government in South Dakota. Yeah. That's when
Mm.
the government killed like 300 innocent people, kids, babies, and everything, and old men. Just shot them all to death. Yeah. And he was
Mm.
sticking up for his people, and they killed them all. Yeah. That's why I keep him and
Great.
Ali together, because they were both people that were oppressed that really kind of impact me about what real strength is. You know, he had balls of steel, bro. He stood up against the government that wanted to send him to kill people that never hung his people. So I always fell in love with who he was as a person, because I'm like, man, you know, you talk about this race is so great, but this race that's so great abused me and put me to the street, and half of them were all on dope. And a black man picked me up off the street and saved my life. A black man taught me how to box. A black man came to the psych ward at 20 years old and saved my life and introduced me to God. I don't know where your hate's coming from and the racism coming from, because they're out here saving white people's lives. It doesn't make any sense. It really don't.
I agree. It's like all like people try to say all this dumb stuff. I can't relate to none of that because that's not my experience.
Yeah,
Listen, maybe it's because we lived in Philadelphia, and
yeah,
Philadelphia is a very diverse city.
yep,
It's like,
yeah,
bro, whatever you believe about, black people or Spanish people,
yeah.
maybe that's because you don't interact with them or something.
That's
But like,
right. That's right.
you know what I mean? If you
Yeah,
just believe propaganda on the internet or on TV, you could get brainwashed. But in real life,
yeah.
if you interact with people, you'll see real people that are just normal people like everyone else. I'm with
You
you
know,
on
I
that.
tell
So
my
many.
pastor Mike Brown gave me this at JITV Church, and I said to him,
Mhm.
"You know what's funny about white people? They hate black people, but they can't wait to copy them. Does that make any sense?
Great,
You
great.
can't stand them, but
That's
you
a great.
can't wait to copy off them at the same time.
That's a great point there. Yeah.
Who's the
With a
fool
lot of
now?
yeah, there's a lot of examples of that, right?
Yeah,
You're right
that's right.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm blessed to say myself, man. I've had a lot of different mentors from a lot of different walks of life that look
yeah,
nothing like me, don't believe in the same thing I believe in. You know what I mean? But that's why I try to keep it like stay open minded myself, man. Like I'm not above nobody, and I'm trying to help. I will help anybody.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Because
yeah,
a lot of people, different walks of life, help me. You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
especially when it comes to the boxing. Like
yeah.
that's just what it is. You know,
That's
I've
right.
had some phenomenal.
At least you know when you meet guys that are in the boxing world, they're there trying to do something right for their life. They're not robbing, stealing, doing dope. They're in there doing something that most people don't have the energy or the care to do. But you'll scream at the
For
football
sure.
game every weekend, though, and you'll drink and you'll booze and you'll eat all your chips and then get all unhealthy. And you're making fun of the guys that are down at the gym. It's crazy how that works. I just buried my cousin 2 years ago. He's 3 years younger than me. He lived 2 blocks away from the same gym where Wesley was at. And every year I push him, push him, push him. He partied himself right down to nothing. It's
Mm.
sad, man. It's sad. Like they refuse to
Yeah.
go and push harder. Because to go and be a boxer while you live in the slums, people think that's easy. That's not easy to do that.
Yeah.
That's not easy to do
Yeah.
that.
The most
It's a
difficult
risk.
way to do it.
It's a gamble. It's a risk. You know what I mean? I get one hit one time and then that's the end of my dream. It's gone, right? And there's a lot of no-name guys that are tougher than the guys that are champ. I always taught my son that. I said, you think the toughest guys are in the cage? The most of the desperate or the sellout guys half the time were there. But most of the real tough guys I've seen walk away and go do real stuff, like go become a doctor. And I mean, I've seen killers walk away and go and do something real. And you're like, man, imagine what he would have been. So that's why I always see the guys when you go, this guy's the best. You don't know that. So that's the best that
No,
you see out there, but they ain't the toughest guy.
no, I'm glad you said that. It's 100%.
Yeah,
People have this weird perception
yeah,
that if you're like a really really good boxer or a really really good MMA fighter, that automatically you're famous and rich. No, the reality is you're 100% correct. There's literally guys that can whoop a lot of these high level fighters' asses that just
yeah,
work regular jobs.
yeah.
Like I was telling somebody the other not too long ago, bro, you'd be surprised. The gap is not that as far as you think between like you. And he was telling me, "Oh, you're not wrong actually, because when I sparred, I don't want to say this guy's name, but he's a
Yeah,
former
yeah,
UFC fighter. retired now. He's like, when I sparred him, I didn't have any fights yet. And he asked my coach, how many fights does this guy have? And my coach told him he didn't have any fights. He was surprised by that. Like, it's all in your mind.
Yeah,
Battles are won before they're fought.
that's
If you
right.
think to yourself, oh my God, this guy's a scary UFC fighter, he's going to kick butt, then you're going to get your fucking ass kicked. Sorry for
Yeah.
cursing. But
Some of
like,
them fighters like to fight off of fear on somebody else's fear, but when you give it back, they're just a regular dude.
hey, to be fair, that's pretty much how Mike Tyson lost.
Yeah.
When Douglas wasn't scared of him.
Yep.
I
If he
mean, he
couldn't bully you.
obviously was all,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to take away from the fact that Mike Tyson was on drugs and doing this and that, and Buster Douglas was locked in, training in the mountains of Kenya and
He
focused,
fought
fighting
back.
his life. His
Yeah.
mother passed away and all that. He fought out of his mind that night,
He
obviously.
sure
But
did,
the point
man.
is, he wasn't scared. He came to
Yeah.
fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same thing with Holyfield. He came to fight. He wasn't scared. You know what I mean?
Tony
Mike
Tucker
Tyson
wasn't scared
basically
either. Remember that?
true.
That was
Yeah,
12 hard rounds, bro.
you're right. That's a great point. You're right.
I
Hey,
don't know why there
Tim
was no
Witherspoon.
rematch on that because I thought Tony Tucker was really a good fighter in that fight. Caught Mike with the
No, you're
uppercut in
right.
the first round, moved him back like 2 feet.
You're right about that.
I don't know why.
I was just about to say one of my favorite fights ever: Tim Witherspoon, Larry Holmes. Tim
Yeah.
Witherspoon wasn't scared. You know what I mean?
You remember
Young
Jesse
guy,
Ferguson?
25. Absolutely.
Dude. We used to go
Absolutely.
play pool sometimes. We both lived in Jersey when I was married, but when I trained with him in the gym when I was a street kid, he was called the boogeyman. He was another one. It was almost a lot like Timmy. He didn't really like to train a lot. He would just spar. Like his bag work looked like shit. But when he got in the ring, you're like, and then I would say to myself, if I followed the same routine he did, I would get my ass whooped. Like I had to be the guy that had to be in tip top shape or I suck. But him, he didn't even train that well, and he was incredible, man. He got beat by Mike Tyson. I think it was like round 6, and he hit him with the thing and stuff like that. Mike couldn't really beat him if he didn't catch that shot. He was good. Do you know after that fight, Mike Tyson paid him $2,500 a week to be his sparring partner because Mike
Wow.
realized how good Jesse Ferguson was. He was legit, man.
Smart.
He beat Douglas too, I think, in the ESPN tournament. 1996 or 97, I believe. I'm sure it's on YouTube somewhere. This is a big history, man.
Oh yeah.
And he was actually a better pool player, and he won all the tournaments. Jesse Ferguson, he won all the pool tournaments after he was done fighting. He was a better pool player than boxing. He was like world class with his pool. Like I mean, for real, world class.
I believe.
Like $2,000 stick, and we used to go over in Mount Holly with Mike from Boys to Men, and all 3 of us would play pool. Psst, psst. They were good, man. They were really good. Jesse was probably the best I ever seen.
Damn.
Yeah, I know. I've been around, dude. I know everybody.
Well, I was about to say, what a life you live, man.
Been everywhere,
You know?
dude. I know. The only thing that bothered me was
Crazy.
I never fought pro. It was my dream, man. I just could never get to it. By the time I started having kids, your wife don't want you doing that crap when you're trying to pay bills and raise a family. I tried, but it wouldn't work.
Oh, it takes a lot of work, man. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of money. You're paying money to fight at
That's
the beginner
right, dude.
level.
That's right.
Even at the pro beginner. You know what I mean? Like it takes money, resources, it takes time, it takes energy, effort. People don't understand that. Listen, at the end of the day, I mean, for what it's worth, you did your job. You weren't selfish. You sacrificed yourself essentially so you can take your kids to a different level in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what I did too, because I knew I was going to raise my son up that way, was I never stopped being around Wesley at the gym. And then I was always between Richie Cates and Wesley. I was teaching, volunteering my time at the Vineland Pal from 95 to 96. And then when Joe was born, then I stopped. And then I went back and started training with Wesley more. So when you train with Wesley and you're not going to fight, now you got to put it into somebody. So now it's going to be your son. Somebody had to get it, dude, right? And then when you go ahead and you get an MMA, now you're giving it to all them guys.
Hey,
so at least I got to give it away.
Me asking, so did you have Joe do amateur fights in like boxing or Muay Thai or anything like that when
Not
he was
one.
younger?
Nope, just jiu-jitsu.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
he never fought at all.
No. So his first ever fight in the amateurs was MMA.
Yeah, and he beat the
Nice.
guy. He hit the guy with the right hand and gave that guy permanent seizures with one punch.
So I mean, dude, think of that. That's what I'm saying. The guy's at the end of the day, right now, he's one of the most devastating punchers in the history of UFC.
That's why he
And
doesn't
he's got
realize why
he
I
can
was so hard on him, because you don't have any experience, and I got to kind of give you the experience in kind of a mock way so you can handle it when you get it, because you really ain't out here fist fighting nobody, dude. You didn't compete in boxing, so I got to make sure you can bang. So I used to take him up and
hey,
let him
but
spar
listen.
every Sunday.
Also, he still did the boxing sparring and all
No,
that
he would
Muay
only
Thai
spar
sparring.
Muay Thai guys. He would kick and punch.
Oh,
Yeah, he didn't just box. He was
okay.
just straight kicking and punching. Yeah.
Well, regardless, bro, the simple fact that he never even had any of those type of fights and his first
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
I mean, he
Yeah. He knew he was going to be a
got
winner,
some.
though. He believed it.
Oh,
You've seen all my videos and my pictures holding him up. And I just talking to him yesterday, and I sent him that picture with his sisters. And I said, you were destined for greatness from the time you were a baby. There was no way you could fail if you followed what your dad told you to do. And look where you're at, dude. You're ranked number 6 now. Told you hard work pays off, dog. You can't fail.
hey, listen. At the end of the day, right now, listen. I'm looking at you. You guys. First of all, you guys are twins, bro. You know what I mean.
I
Second of all,
like when they say I look
look at
like
look at
him. I'm like, man, I was born first.
then. Second of all, look at his pops, bro. You're still training, from what I understand. You've been a part of this lifestyle literally before I was born. I'm
Yeah.
38. People think I know a lot
Yeah.
about fighting.
Yeah. I
People
started
think
at
I know a
81.
lot about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You were doing
Yeah.
it before 81, bro. I wasn't. That's 7 years before I was born. It's not
Yeah.
none of this stuff is a coincidence at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look, none of us are perfect, obviously, right? I'm sure there's
Yeah.
things you wish you could have done better,
A
all that.
lot.
But the point is, I mean, it's not a coincidence, man. None,
And
man.
you know what makes it
And
hard
once
when
again,
you train? You ever get to a point where you're training somebody and you in a time in your life you're fighting all your pain and you're not relaxed. So a lot of the times you're fighting your past and whatever it is. But then all of a sudden when you get through all your experience and you calm and you get old, you go, oh man, I see where I jacked up everywhere. I didn't know how
oh,
to
score.
do this and do that. And, I never got a chance to step back. And then when you step back, now I realize how people become really good grandfathers. Because when you realize that you screwed up in this area, in every area in here, and you see what you've done good, it's there. And you look around, you go, wow, I only want to focus on what I did wrong. So that way I can help them when they start to struggle. That's all I care about for my kids. That's it. For him, I hope he beats Sean Strickland and he becomes champ. He's got to fight a guy this summer from Brazil, the Cal guy. And then after that, he gets a shot and he fights Sean Strickland. So I'm going to be sitting here talking to you and say, wow, my kid's only 2 fights away from being a UFC middleweight champ. All from us having nothing from the farm all the way up to there like that.
Hey, listen. The fact that he's even living this life and he loves it, I'm assuming he loves what he's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
That in itself is a victory. That in itself
Yeah.
is a victory.
Yeah. He showed me his
Like they
dog
say,
today. He bought this real big cane or a Presa Canary dog. And I said, Joe, send me a picture of your dog. It's a big 150-pound, like beautiful fawn mastiff, like pit bull looking thing. Like the head's like that big, dude. And he's happy. He's got a nice home. He's got a couple of cars. And he seems like he's doing good. All the bad blood stuff is kind of come to a stop now. It has to.
that's that's some stuff for you
Yeah.
guys to
Yeah.
deal with.
That.
I always want to see a father and a son make
Yeah.
amends. You know what I mean?
And he's going to get married. And I
Yeah,
told him I give him my blessing. I want to see him. I want to see him be happy. Go be happy now.
of course.
And
man.
make sure you
Of
knock
course.
both these guys out. like I say, stay a step ahead, dude. You know what I mean? Play the range game on them guys. They can't get past him because Joe's boxing can be elite when he stays in that mind because he got a really sharp eye, Joe does. I know the one guy that he fought in the UFC, Joe stepped back when the guy was coming there and he check hooked him and he knocked that guy out. So he knows how to put it together.
Let's not give away too many game plans in case the
Yeah,
opposition
no.
somehow.
But you know what I say about
stumbles
them? I asked Steve, hey, I used to tell him at a Fight Factory, This is the punch I'm going to hit you with. Now I want you to try and stop it. And they couldn't stop it. So I can tell that guy from Brazil, hey, look, this is what's going to happen to you, and you ain't going to stop it. That's how much confidence in the Philadelphia fight system I had in giving that to my son like that. Don't worry about it. Tell him how you're going to beat him right to his face. And I guarantee he can't stop it. Why? How's that,
I
Dad?
do
You'll
agree
know
with that.
this. You know what I mean? We're from K&A,
I do
dude. We're
agree
going to
with-
find a way to kill you. He's going to get to you.
Conor McGregor.
Yep.
McGregor used to predict he's gonna knock people out. You know what I mean? So
And he did it.
at the end of the day, I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
I agree. You can't really stop something. You know what I mean? If I'm because guess what? Yeah, there's one punch, but there's hundreds of different angles, hundreds of different ways for me to set up the punch. Like,
Well,
yeah,
you're
there's a lot
my
of variation.
Ukrainian brother. How many ways are there for me to put you in checkmate in chess?
I don't even know, buddy.
So the guy will
How
only be
many?
trying to come at me with one style, and I'm going to come one style, but I got about 30 different ways I'm going to do just that one move. I've created 30 entries to that one knockout.
Right.
So you
Exactly.
may think you
So-
know, but maybe I just got that one little counter that I know you're going to do so I can upset you. That's what I mean by I'll dominate you no matter what.
I definitely agree. That's why I don't really care too much about like footage and all that type of like. Obviously, you want to watch as much tape as you can and all that. But at the end of
I
the
just
day,
watched it today and I started laughing. He's a southpaw too. He ain't gonna win. I'm like, Joe's gonna kick that leg and punch that dude right down the face. And Joe's right hand was developed from me as a little boy making him throw shot put. Joe was the shot put champ in middle school. So if he hits you, your brain is gone.
yo, that's actually a brilliant. That's actually a brilliant way to develop right here. To be fair,
And make
Shot-
sure you don't extend
You know,
all the way
even like
out
the-
and stop. Ooh, partial.
makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, like that one video
Hey,
I did,
the
you
snap
said it
was-
was like the Russian. Remember, I was taking the ball and I was throwing it against the bag.
Yeah,
Man, it hurts a little bit. So then you got to really learn to stop wherever it feels comfortable for you. But a full length, you might tear the shoulder out. So you got to really be careful when you throw it to kind of just like stop it. You know what I mean? So that way, when you throw for real, there's some nasty force. And you know, and look again, there's no weights involved. Ain't no benching involved in that power. You know, Russians ain't sitting there doing all that stuff. It's all electric. You know, you've seen it. Don't need to be all big and strong.
Absolutely. I mean, there's some guys now incorporating weightlifting and strength training and all that.
Yeah.
I get it, but in reality, you don't need all that stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm with you. I'm big on just the basic stuff: pull-ups, push-ups, dips, sit-ups, squats. All obviously, we could do some explosive lunges, duck. So in America, nobody really does the duck walks. You know what I mean? Like that. I've done kickboxing, I've done boxing.
Wesley made us do
myself.
that with the hands behind the head too.
In all of it, we did duck walks since I was a kid. I've duck walked half my childhood away,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
And then over here, whenever I try to have, like, especially when I had my stepson, when I used to train him when he was younger, he would look at me like I'm stupid for that. Like, bro, this works. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Yeah.
Pretty good stuff, man. A lot
For
of
sure.
knowledge, dude.
There's
A lot
some. I'm so glad. I'm so glad. It's like crazy because I used to take for granted all this stuff that I know. You know what I mean? And
You remember Rocky Lockridge?
I've lived so much. What's that?
Remember Rocky Lockridge, the guy that used to be champ?
What weight class?
35. He was the guy
I'm not sure. How long?
that they found over there on drugs in Camden, New Jersey. And he was the one who was all in the video crying and was reconciling with his sons. That was a real bad
A long
father
time
son
ago?
story.
Mm.
He was
I
millionaire.
hate
He was
to hear
millionaire.
that.
He ended up homeless on drugs. I mean, he was one of the best. Look up his name, Rocky Lockridge. This dude was incredible, man. Incredible. Rock and Rodney Moore. I knew him real well too. Really good boxer. Ernest Singletary from 1983. When I was like 12-year-old, 13-year-old kid, he lived right across the street from my aunt in Alany on 4th Street. And I'm over there, like everywhere you go, there's pro boxers everywhere, man. Like it's incredible.
Dude, it's almost like
What a history, dude.
it's like, for example, I'm sure you've seen like on the internet. Sometimes they show like little facts. Like it reminds me of like how like 4 or 5 famous rappers went to the same high school at the same time.
Yeah.
It was like I forgot like DMX and like somebody like a bunch more like big names. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of something like that. You were a part of like a wave. You
Yeah.
were like a part of some type of wave fighters or something like that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's what, that's what I was thinking about this entire time. Because you've been naming naming so many guys you were around and interacting with. It's crazy, man.
We'll
You know
see in
what I
the
mean?
80s that what made the neighborhood so dangerous was there was a lot of guys who would box for a little bit and then they were into drinking and just hanging on corners and fighting. So everybody in the corner, when you would walk by, when you didn't know how to fight real well, everybody had good hands. So back in the day, that was really dangerous because these guys could beat you to death, and they didn't have no problem doing that. Plus, throwing bottles at you, so it was dangerous because everybody kind of knew how to fight in K&A. That's what made it scary. That you couldn't get by somebody and go, "Oh, I can beat this crowd." They all knew how to fight, man. That's what made it scary.
No, back a lot. Your guys' generation of Kenzos were very tough for
Yeah,
sure.
dangerous.
Very, very
And if you notice too,
for sure.
there was a guy. They were so tough that there was a show called Bully Beatdown. Even Eddie Alvarez that I used to work with, we trained together. I helped coach him. It was a hockey player who beat up the MMA guy on the bully beatdown. The hockey guy was supposed to be the bully that got made to look bad, but the hockey dude beat the balls off the MMA guy. See? Just like we were talking about, just because you're MMA, the gap ain't all that far, bro. You think it is, but it's not. You're not the only one training,
Listen,
man.
Mike Tyson used to live in Ukraine. After he went bankrupt in America, he moved to Ukraine for a couple like I believe a couple years. You know what I
No
mean?
way.
And he literally like I lived in Ukraine at the time when he lived there. And I mean, I'm telling you right now, I know for a fact, like, rest in peace, my stepdad. Some of the people he knew, literally, somebody beat up Mike Tyson in a bar. I get it; it's a bar fight. It's not the same thing as a boxing match, but he lost a bar fight to a regular guy who was also a boxer once upon a time, but not a high level professional boxer. You know what I mean? But the point is, there's people all over the world right now
Yeah.
who can give some professional fighters a run for their money.
Can you
You
imagine
know,
David
just
Tiller
like
fighting Mike Tyson in a bar?
no, that's
Yo, I would get in my
David
car
Tiller
and
might
leave. I
throw,
wouldn't even hang around to see that, man. I'd be gone.
but it's the perfect example. Like half of freaking Dagestan can
Yeah.
probably wipe out the entire C rosters. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
easy.
And you don't know who those guys are. I guarantee you, there's literally a guy right now in Dagestan who's like a villager who like freaking picks tomatoes and stuff
I
at his
know.
on his
I know.
family
Dudes
farm.
with like huge hands too, man, and big fists.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And but just because of where he comes from over there, they wrestle and
Yeah.
fight since they're little.
Yep.
So he still has a fighting base. The point is, he could probably come over here and really give a lot of people a run for their money. And I don't even know who that guy is. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
So
But no,
Usyk
I'm
must be
with you
your
on that
boy
though.
then, huh?
When I used to have my hair long and I was a little skinnier, people used to say I look like him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I
He's
don't.
tough,
I
man.
don't. He's from. Oh, he's
Yeah.
really tough, dude, man.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know him at all. On my girl's side, her her relatives came here because of the war and stuff. And it's not that I won't really say that they know him really well or nothing like that. But
Yeah.
one of her relatives knows this one of his coaches. You know what I mean? That's about it. That's all I can say about that. I don't know that guy from a can of spray paint. I've been here for a while anyway, so I'm pretty disconnected from the world of the Ukrainian boxers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the most part. Yeah, once
Yeah. What
upon a
is your
time.
style anyway, man? Like, what is the deal in Ukraine? Because you're here now. You've been
It's
around training
Soviet.
them. What are they box different there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much
Yeah.
Soviet style
Yeah.
for the most part. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Soviet style. Similar to like a Dmitry Bivol, even though he's a Russian fighter, but
Fight. The
similar
punches are out
style.
longer, right? Yeah.
Yeah, more bouncing around, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
I can't do it, man.
Uh,
I mean, I could play with it, but I see it and I'm like, nah, because it's almost everything Bibble does goes against Wesley. You know, you're like, nah, I like some of it,
Oh,
not
cool.
not not a lot of it. It works for him.
Listen, even all those guys, the reason why, like for example, even like a Lomachenko and a Usyk,
Yeah,
you see them do in the pros, but there's a reason why a majority of the guys from overseas they end up coming to America and adapting more of a pro style. You know
that's
what I
right.
mean?
That's right.
Even if like e- e- even if those guys like even like a Bivol, he still has his old trainer, Usyk and Lomachenko. They have like Lomachenko has his
Yeah,
dad and
yeah,
stuff,
that's right.
but they still they still always have somebody like an American pro style coach and they're on
Mhm.
their team because you can't bounce around like that for 12 rounds. Even though it's not
That's
really
right.
bouncing around, yeah, one foot is always planted. Both feet are never off the ground at the same time. It just looks like it, you know what I mean?
Mm,
But the point is that's not really a sustainable thing to do for 12 rounds.
that's
You
right.
know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, my I'm different regardless, right? You know, people maybe right now I still have to prove it, but I believe I'm one of the best in the world as a coach, and I believe everything has a
Don't let
purpose. I
nobody tell you
know,
otherwise either.
yeah, oh, no, never, and I mean, I believe that, and I'm gonna prove it. You know what I mean? But everything has a purpose. Everything is a tool. So there's a little bit of that stuff that could be utilized even in the pros. You know what I
You
mean?
know
The
what I'll
bouncing
tell you
around and
here
stuff
on
like
this live feed? That out of all the gym people I know, you've got more experience in what you're saying on your Instagram account than 95% of the guys back in Philly that I left that I know that are training. You got way more wisdom than them. So I know you're going to climb right up over them. I see it coming, man. I've seen it from day one when I first reached out to you. You didn't reach out to me. I reached
yeah,
out to you like, yo, your channel's that's real, bro. They need you. They
I
need you.
know.
They literally need you. I mean, I'm saying it like that so they hear it. They need this guy's channel because no one's going to teach you unless someone's going to steal, and everybody steals, but you're not going to get it at this level here. So you should really be following that channel because I don't ever say that I don't need to follow it. Like, oh, I don't need it. I'm this guy. I listen to everything you say and go, have I forgotten anything? And there's so many new things that you've taught on there. I'm like, that's why I don't like to brag about what I know because you said stuff that I don't know or that I forgot, and I love seeing that you
Yeah,
did it, man. You're putting an encyclopedia out there, bro.
that's why I don't get all big headed about it
Yeah,
because listen,
yeah,
I've learned all this from
yeah,
other self. You know what I mean? And plus, in reality, listen, boxing has existed for hundreds of years. There's nothing new under the sun.
yeah,
Whatever I'm saying that other people do know, I mean, they might have just heard it in a different way, but these principles all exist. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah,
I don't try to act like I'm some super genius or anything. I'm just saying the stuff that already exists.
yeah,
Maybe in my own translation, my own view of it. You know what I mean? But hey,
yeah.
yeah, I can honestly say I've had a world champion, literally a world champion. That means a lot to me. Telling me like, damn, bro, I really appreciate some of the stuff you talk about on here. Because I mean, on my Instagram, I have a bunch of people following me that are in big names in boxing. But on TikTok, I have some as well. You know what I mean?
Good,
So
good.
between those two platforms, I communicate back and forth with some people here and
You know
there.
what they say, right?
Man,
Your
it's
attitude determines your altitude. That's what my pastor always said. And don't let your emotion destroy your devotion, man. You're on your way, dude. I guarantee you are. I guarantee it.
I appreciate
Kind
I
of pisses
appreciate it.
me
And you
off that
know,
you ain't
it's
got more
sad
followers.
because
I kind of thought, hurry up, man. Like, it should keep getting spread. That's why as soon as you post, anytime if I'm not doing something and I see it, because my phone don't always alert, but I always share your stuff right away because I want all the guys back home
no,
to see what I follow. Because they know if I'm following somebody, then they know it's legit. They're like, hey man, it's you. And I'm like, yeah, he's here. I put you above me in that rank. Go to him if you want to learn.
I appreciate I
I don't
appreciate
want
the
to teach no
support,
more.
man. It's so funny because I noticed that there's a whole weird. I have like a bunch. So I got like what some people following me, like 10,000 something people, but
Yeah.
then I have to have at least another 10,000 people, at least another 10,000 people that don't officially follow me, but spy on my page. I know it
Oh,
has to
I
be
bet,
somewhere, right?
man. I
I'm
bet.
telling you,
Isn't that
it's
wild,
at
dude?
least another 10,000 people, at least. Sometimes they accidentally like something. A bunch of them spy on my stories and all. It's just like I don't
You're
care,
writing it
bro.
down, bro.
You know what I mean? like you can have these weird Instagram games. I don't care,
It
bro.
could be
I'm
the
not even
coaches
doing it.
going right in to teach his whole school like it's his stuff.
No. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of that. Yo, there's this one
Rehearsing it
guy.
in the bathroom.
There's this one guy. I already blocked him on TikTok, on
No
Facebook, on
way.
Instagram, just because it's weird. Because it's weird, but he still finds a way to spy on my stuff. So listen, he has a YouTube channel. That's the only. I mean, he does it on every
Oh,
platform,
man.
but even worse on YouTube. He says everything I say in the video, word for word sometimes. Everything I say, he goes on the YouTube, makes a video of his face saying the same stuff and posts it. And he's
Dude, they
working
make
his
fake
way up
accounts
from,
in Instagram in my name now.
oh my god.
Yeah. And then they
Uh,
pretend they're me now. Yeah, I'm this,
that's
I'm
horrible.
I got all these fights, and you're going, man, is that shit even legal to do that to people?
Yeah, that's like identity. You know,
Yeah, it's
it's so
identity
weird.
theft.
It's stuff I never thought of. And it's like I honestly don't want to be famous. I don't want to be famous.
No
I know
way,
it
man,
sounds
because all the
crazy.
freaks come out.
Yeah. I'm only doing this because I want to open up doors for myself, bro.
Yeah,
Because I hate to say it, and I'm not a victim or nothing, but man, it's a bunch of jealous,
yeah,
gatekeeping people in MMA, man, that will
it's
not
bad.
open no doors. Not for me. And I won't listen. I'll be the first one to tell you. I'm very difficult to get along with too.
Yeah,
I'm not a yes man. I'm
that's
not
right.
when I'm in a room, people
You
don't
don't have
feel
that
comfortable
sellout
around me.
spirit either.
Why? No, no, definitely not no sellout
Ukraine, bro.
spirit at all. I don't tippy toe around nobody. I know
Yep,
what I know.
yep,
I mean, I'm not argumentative. I don't argue with people or nothing. But for some reason, whatever, it's my fault. Whatever it is, it's my fault. It's hard for me to get along with people. It is what it is. I don't
yeah,
care. But
yeah.
I'm not changing.
But you
Damn
got
near
to admit,
40 years
though,
old.
it's pretty tough when you see through the bullshit. Now you got to deal with them, and you go, man, this is tough because they're trying to
Yeah.
play you, and you see it, but you ain't telling them you see it.
But the thing is, I don't want to say it like that because I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm perfect and it's everybody else's. I'll take the blame. I'm difficult, but yeah, in reality, it's a lot of that. You know what I mean?
It's
But
your
also
fault.
like my problem is, bro, I will only extend one olive branch. I will extend one olive branch. I will always try to be cool, be friendly, and guess what? You take that for a weakness, bro. I will step all over your neck.
That's
You know what
right.
I mean? I I don't need nobody's help for nothing, bro. Whatever I
Yeah,
want, if I can't open that door, I will rip that door off the hinges,
that's
bro.
right.
And that's
That's
exactly
right.
what I'm using the social media stuff for. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That, that's how I look at it, man.
Hey,
So
now I
I
can say
literally
I've been
all I
thinking
live.
like that since you was born, bro.
I love it. I love it.
I love
Listen,
that, dude. I'm
if the,
telling you, man.
if
From the day I saw
if
your
one of
channel,
these,
I spot genius right away in you, dude. 100%.
I appreciate.
You
If
got to
one of these
call it.
people would have just let me, all I wanted to do was be a striking coach at one of these little raggedy MMA gyms. They didn't
Yeah.
want to let me do that. I don't know what they want me to do. I literally messaged. I said, "Sir, can I? Do you need people to be?" Nobody even replied to me. It's like I'm not about to beg you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
All I can do is ask. What do you want me to do after that? No, you don't want me to. You don't want to pay me no mind. Say less.
Yeah.
Say less. Now I'm just listen. I'm so petty. I will train people for free that are fighting the people from the gyms who I wanted to see if they needed striking coaches, bro. I will train the people that are fighting them for free just because I'm petty like that, man. And then
Yeah.
we'll knock all those people out. That's how petty I am, bro. You know what I mean? But I appreciate support like from people like you
Yeah.
and stuff because at
Yeah.
the end of the day,
Yo,
listen.
you need to get a Burberry hat, dog. You're in PA, man.
Yo,
You better
I
get one of
should.
them hats, man.
You're right. I should see, but no, in reality, though, that's that hardcore Irish Kensington, Port Richmond stuff right
That's
there. You know
why.
what I mean?
That's exactly
Like that.
why I want you to get that and start wearing that when you do your videos, dog. For
Uh,
real. That
yeah,
badass.
a
Get
couple
like the
years
dark
ago.
green one, man. You get every Irish fan from Pennsylvania all on that channel, dude.
That's something to think about right there, man.
Yeah, you
Actually,
gotta you
you just
gotta
gave.
cater to your fan base, and then you gotta get a Puerto Rican hat too,
You
because the
might
Puerto
have just
Ricans are
gave me
great
a.
fighters, man.
You might have just gave me $1 million piece of advice there.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, you know what I mean? Maybe that's something to
When
think
I
about.
die, God will say, "Was I generous to people?" That's all I care about.
Hey, man, listen.
Hey, they saved my
Yeah,
life, bro. You saw my documentary. They saved my life. I'm living on
for
borrowed
sure.
time. So I just try to help people I know are real.
That's why I wanted to get you on here to talk, man, because it's like, dude, just from the conversation I have sometimes on Instagram through the messages and stuff, it's like, bro, I don't even think people even, not that we don't care about what people think and all that, right? Obviously, but in reality, for example, if somebody says Joe Pyfer Senior, right, the first thing a random person will think when if that name comes up specifically with the senior at the end,
Yeah.
is they would think something, you know, whatever this, whatever the stigma is, right, that comes with that
Yeah.
name. But when I talk to you, I'm like, bro, that people would be so shocked, like, you know what I mean? Because once
Yeah.
again, the things that I pick up from you is like the discipline, the wisdom,
Yeah.
kindness. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. You know
We
what I
live in a
mean?
society where it's really easy to badmouth somebody without proving anything. You know what I mean? Where's the facts at? You just say it and people believe it.
And that's the whole thing. Also, like, yeah, just everyone's so quick to just judge, and a lot of
Yeah.
times people just believe stuff. They believe stuff because they just want a villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people feel better about themselves when they can point a finger at somebody else
Yeah.
and make them out to be a
That's a
villain. You know what I
terrible
mean?
human flaw, man.
It really is.
Been
It
seeing it
really
since I
is.
was little, and you can't get it out of people's mind.
No, yeah, it's not gonna. It's just what it is. We're not. We can't. All we can do is be the people, the change we want to see in the world, but we
Yeah.
can't change
Yeah.
like people. You
You
know,
got to really be
we can
true to
only change.
yourself, man. Don't you?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all
And
it
be
is. You know
honest
what I
with
mean?
yourself. That's what I tell them. The
That's
first
it.
time you lie, before you lie, you have to lie to yourself before you lie to me. You know, how long can you live with
That's
your own
brilliant.
lie?
You're actually right about that. That's actually you know, I'm the one that claims I love the freaking philosophy and all that so much,
Yeah.
but that's actually philosophical. I love
The
that.
first person you lie
That's a
to is
great point.
yourself, right? You know
That's
that.
true. That
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense.
You can
The
say I'm
first
a
person
bad
you lie.
guy, but who are you? You can say I did this, but who are you? Because it's not a matter what you think of
And I
me.
don't.
What do you think of yourself that you treat people like shit too? So I mean, who you really pointing the finger at the end of the day? You're lying to yourself, right?
100%. And not
Yeah.
to mention, what did Jesus say? He who's without sin
Cast the
cast the
first
first
stone.
stone. You know
Yeah,
what I
but
mean?
most people that are
If
Christians don't follow that, dude. You know, they find an edge or a scripture to say they can throw that at you. You know, and then that's why you got wars.
listen, I'm
Yeah,
baptized. I'm
yeah,
Orthodox Christian.
yeah,
So I'm this is me saying this myself about Christians. Like, some of the
yeah,
most judgmental people in the world are Christians.
yeah,
That's just a reality.
yeah.
And you know, that's not the teachings of Jesus Christ.
That's right.
I read the Bible multiple times. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm like, not to brag. This is nothing to be proud of necessarily. I've had debates with straight up preachers where they try to tell me that the Bible says something, and I explain to them that that's not what the Bible says. And we've come around full circle to where they had to admit to me that I was right and they were wrong. Not that I care much about being right, but no, I'm with you on that. Christianity,
Yeah.
a lot of misinterpretations in Christianity, a lot of judgmental people. That's true.
I haven't done
Mhm.
that in a while where I could remember the numbers, but I just told Joe the other night because I read it because it impacted me that Jesus said literally this is a it's a stopper. Be careful that your light is not darkness. And almost what he's pointing at is be careful that you don't think that it's something to attain, like it's some kind of accolade to put into your life so people see you as this guy. Because that there you can't have a relationship with Christ and have any pride. That's the first sin. Now you got your pride and you got an ego. Yeah, I'm a Christian now. And I'm wearing the memorabilia and I'm posting about it and ain't got no fruits to show for it. Just the mouth, and that's it. And then outside of that, you're still the same nasty guy and user and lying and con. And you think the only true thing that you see when somebody truly has Jesus Christ and there's conversion is total humility. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything I did. Because I
No, you're
realize
right
how
about
my
it.
sin is the only thing you contribute to your salvation is your sin, which means that you're not worthy. So how do you all of a sudden get grace from Jesus and now turn into a prick to somebody else? Too much of that going on, man. Too much.
No, y'all love that. You're right about that.
It's painful.
And it's once again, it's not like we're attacking anybody. It's just
Yeah.
If it
Yeah.
don't apply, let it fly. You know what I mean?
That's right.
As a matter of
That's
fact,
right.
the way you just said that is really just sounds like this is something you learned the hard way, essentially. You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. I had to learn it
Yeah.
all the hard way. I didn't have structure in my life being a runaway. So all I had was the gym and doing roofing work and staying home to home. And poverty stricken areas, people are pretty high stress because they don't make good money. So everybody's kind of down and out and pissed off and coping their own way. Weed, cocaine, they're drinking beer. And you're trying to be an athlete while having no athletic food around you and eating granola bars just to get through the training. So I know about that suffering and what humility is. And if I say that Jesus Christ is my savior, the last thing I'm going to do is not go around and apologize to the people that I've hurt. That's going to be the first thing that I do. And then I'm going to make a public apology for all the foul things that I've said about people and my ugly behavior. But today they become saved through Christ and they don't apologize and they don't repent and they don't really show no fruits. So you don't really know who's who. And that's why Jesus said you have to try their spirits. You have to push them to see if their testimony is real. Or you don't know what kind of snake you got hiding in your presence. It's easy to say you have Jesus. Well, yeah, it's let me see you prove it now. You still throwing
Brilliant.
stones? Are you apologetic? And let me say this. This is the truth. I've been saved since I was 20. And I talk about it all the time, about grieving the Holy Spirit. If you've done something really bad and you know it's wrong, then it's going to trouble your heart all the time because you know you have offended God who just saved you by grace. So how could you betray Jesus and come home at the end of the day? Like Jesus is waiting for you and you go, how did you treat people today? Oh, like crap. But I just gave you salvation. I don't care. You know, if you see, that's what the attitude is towards that. It makes no sense,
It's
man.
crazy how I'm telling you, Christianity and just the Bible overall, even the
Yep.
Old Testament, which is not a doesn't apply to Christianity, but it could teach you so much about just other aspects of life besides spirituality. You know what I mean? Relationships with people, even business ventures and stuff like that. You know, it's
Yep. Look at the
crazy
book
how
of
you can
Proverbs,
really,
right?
yeah,
The fear of the Lord
yeah.
is the beginning of knowledge. This generation don't shut up long enough to learn. They just chase and they chase and they chase. That's what's so unique about your channel, bro. And I hope they follow you that way. I hope they do because you got the leadership, man.
My generation has, and the younger generation before us, we all have
Yeah.
TikTok brain.
That's right. That's
our,
right.
our attention span is no bigger than like 30 seconds.
Is that going to become a thing, man?
It seems like it. We all have it at this point.
Oh my
We
God.
can't pay attention for longer than like a minute. I mean, I read a book. I was listening to a book today for like an hour or so. I was paying attention, soaking it all in. I'm probably I don't have it as bad because I'm kind of a part of the older generation as well. But it's
Yeah.
getting bad for how you can see. It's getting bad. You know what I mean?
Scary.
For the most part.
If they
Yeah,
don't
man.
have any decency put in them, it's not in their music. Everything is a program. Your TV's a program, your music's a program. And I've watched rap. I was there when rap music started, and it was innocent and it had no foul music in it. It wasn't saying F the police, it wasn't saying this. As soon as it got to Ice Cube with F the police, then they started getting permission for a lot of the rappers to start to talk about bad stuff. And then pretty soon, now all it's talking about is this ugly stuff. And everybody's got some stupid gang sign. And you look at it and you go, what? I mean, I don't want to use the F word, but what are they going to produce after they have kids? What productive thing is going to be created out of all that kind of music that does nothing but just spit hate? Ding, ding, ding,
To
ding,
be
shoot and
fair,
kill.
I will say it's also the rock and roll's not helping. Even the country music,
No.
that a lot of that nonsense is all happening everywhere. Yeah, but back to the hip hop. Originally, hip hop was really a way for people to vent what was happening in their urban communities, to kind of vent to the world on what they were going through. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And like sharing what problems were happening in the ghetto and all that. But now it's not about venting about what the problem. It's about promoting a bunch of stuff that don't need to be in anybody's
yeah.
community. You know what I mean?
But it is, you want
Just
to teach
promoting
people to
about
have class in their suffering. And you got to have dignity in your suffering. Because when all the immigrants came here, the Irish and all, and the Italians, And I saw them as a kid all through the 70s. These people were outside every Sunday hosing their concrete sideways down. They were swept, and the neighborhood used to have pride. How did the pride go away? It seemed like all the pride went away when the 40s and 50s generation died out, like my grandparents. It just seemed the pride went away. Like nobody cared. And that was the music and the attitude for the whole environment. It's sad to see that. Because that affects even the boxing world. Because if they're all
Oh,
messed
cool.
up, like, what's going on?
No, you're right about that. You're right about that. It affects everything. It affects everything.
A trickle effect, isn't it?
It's like you said, it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
I don't know how we can restore. I don't know if we're ever going to restore that. Actually, as a matter of fact,
I don't see it.
it's only going to get worse. You know what I mean? It's really just what do you the reward systems in place, right? Right
Yeah.
now, we reward stupidity and ignorance is rewarded. You know what I mean?
Everybody's considered a
Uh,
hero. Everybody gets an award.
well, also just like the news. Take the news for example. On the news doesn't promote or show good things happening in the world.
Never.
They get more. They make more money from promoting and broadcasting negativity going on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yep.
The point is, it's like at the end of the day, if all you consume all day is dumb, negative, ignorant stuff, that's essentially what you're gonna manifest and produce
My
yourself. You know what I
grandmother
mean?
used to say, garbage in, garbage out. You get what you put in yourself. Like, that's it, you know?
Right? But it's like no matter where you turn, whether it's for entertainment or for news, any type of news, politics to whatever,
Yeah.
everything is just garbage. Everything is just we've gotten because it's a money system, money first type of system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where everything has to be the bottom line
Capitalism
matter than
makes
anything.
father and son hate each other, don't they?
It really does. I'm not saying communism is much better, but that's the one downfall of capitalism is
Yeah.
everything's for sale.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean?
That's right. That's
Everything's
sad to
for
see,
sale.
man, because that breaks up a lot of families. A lot, dude. I don't need you. I got money. And you see the FU mentality. I got money, money. And that's all you see. And you're like, wow, bro, that you have no soul if you're going to live like that. That you're going to burn out. You eventually burn out where the money just doesn't please you no more, don't it? And you keep buying things and
I was
buying. And then what?
I was thinking the other day, right? Maybe we're the crazy ones here in America where like we think the whole world is jealous of us and you know, we're we're the best and everyone hates us because we're the best and they're jealous
Yeah.
of us and they want to come here so bad. But in reality, maybe it's the complete opposite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
maybe that's the propaganda that the government here is using on us. Like for example, uh, in the Soviet Union, right? Everybody had to stand in lines to get toilet paper or food, right?
Yeah.
But here, but here, the propaganda is so good that people used to sleep for days outside of a store
Yeah.
willingly to
Yeah.
buy like a phone or a PlayStation or so it's
Out in
like
front of
we're
Best
all
Buy.
standing, you know what I mean? You're still standing in line, whether it's
Yeah.
communism or capitalism, but
Yeah.
you're gonna stand outside willingly to hand your thousands of dollars over
Ooh,
for like a PlayStation or something, while over there they're
man.
doing it because they're starving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
It's
either
wild,
way,
man.
it's like nowhere around it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you know what? When you say that, when you look at a society that's all messed up like that, that also becomes a hard thing that a boxing coach sees because when that generation starts bringing their kids to the gym and you see them, kids got a $2,000 phone, he talks back, the mom, is all like wired, and you look at this and you go, look at the challenge that a boxing coach has got to deal with now. It's not easy. I see a
Yeah,
lot of guys like, yo, these kids are terrible, man. Like, there's no respect.
yeah. I had uh, so back when I used to I because when my stepson trains at or whatever, sometimes when I would take him there, I would just sit there, wait till he was done, and then come back. Right. Uh, so one of the other parents was there. Some little kid, little tiny, little really fat little boy. You know what I mean? And the parent used to always like, I don't know, like to me for some reason in front, like scold the kid in front of me though. Like, but the kid was like a toddler. My stepson was like
Yeah.
a teenager. The kid was, and he, oh, you're so fat, and whatever. Like why don't you exercise, whatever. But then like whatever, we ended up having a conversation, and I'm like, bro, you're the father, bro. Like your kid's fat, but you're the dad. Who's taking him to McDonald's and giving him candy bars and all
Yeah.
that? And he looked at me, like I wasn't supposed to be. He was thankful that I said it almost, but like almost like mad at me that I'm the one that said it. You know what I mean? Like, bro, well, like, bro, you're the one over here scolding your kid because you don't like
Yeah.
that he's fat.
A lot of the
But
times they
dad,
bring the
like,
kid for your help, but it's the parent that needs you.
it's like shame on you for
Yeah.
whatever reason, bro, for
Yeah.
letting them get fat, for for just all types of reasons. You know what I mean? Like, and then you're over here acting like, like
For years, I
it's
see the
his fault.
parents bring kids in and they get pissed off at the coach because they don't like that the kid did this or with that one and that one. And you see a lot of these parents, and I guess they all work. But if the parent really learned what the kid had to go through and got a little experience on the mat, they would learn not to react the way they do on the sideline. They don't like how a coach teaches. I think a lot of parents ought to get a little taste of it because you really don't know what you're talking about. Learn something, man,
Oh,
with
for
your
sure.
kid. Grow with them. Don't just bark at them from the outside when you don't even know anything about the fight sport at all. Learn,
I
man.
think that's ridiculous. That's the worst type of if the relationship like that where the parent never been even remotely any type of participation in the sport,
Yeah,
but then just like thinks he knows what he's talking about and all that, and then that a lot of times kids like that, as almost like 95% of the time, get hurt,
yeah,
especially if we're talking like some type of where punches and kicks are being thrown. Like
yeah,
in those type of scenarios, kids get hurt actually.
yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't end up good.
I had a lady when I was teaching down at Balance in Center City back in 2016. And it was a black lady who brought a 12-year-old daughter, two buses, and had to walk 6 blocks to get to the gym. And I said, "Why did you bring her here?" She said, "She's getting beat up and bullied in school." So I asked the owners, I said, "Man, is there any way that she can come to this class for free?" I was teaching the boxing for the Muay Thai class. They would come on Friday. So they agreed to it.
Mhm.
And that made the mom feel so good because, man, if you understand what it's like to be bullied, now you got a
Of
single
course.
mom and they're beating up a 12-year-old girl. She's a big, strong, they're a black couple. And so every week I trained her and trained her and trained her and trained her. By the time she got to the 6th week, the mom said, for some reason, she's going to school. She's just got a different way about her, Joe. And they still taunt her, but now they don't swing on her no more. Because she told them, I know how to box now. And so just the fact that she put up her hands made them leave her alone. But I mean, that's
Oh, for
that's what matters in the boxing. And I mean, it's the single moms with these broken children, man. It ain't about the money. It's not about the sport. I try to tell a lot of fighters, you should be
sure.
focusing on saving people's lives, man. Forget about the money, dude. Who cares?
Right
Go,
about that.
go save a broken
You're right
kid's
about that.
life and see what that reward is for you.
Like they say, you haven't succeeded until someone can stand taller because of you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. That's why I put
It's
my kid up as
that
high as
stuff
I could.
matter.
I knew if I couldn't get there, he was going to get it. I already won. I could die
Yeah.
tomorrow and I would die content because I would dream about that kind of stuff when I was in the shelter down on Vine Street, 20 years old, wondering, will I ever make it? And boom, look at that. Probably by the end of the year, your kid could be middleweight champion of the world, UFC, just like that. 2 fights
What
away.
a life, dude.
He's 2 fights
What a
away
life,
from the
huh?
championship.
You
Yeah.
guys are gonna need a nah, man. Don't talk about it like you're ready to die and all that, bro. You guys are
I'm
gonna
in
need
so much pain
Netflix
with my
show.
back. I'm sure you can see
Nah,
me moving around, right? I'm hurting.
yeah.
I'm hurting. 20
Sorry,
years like this, bro,
sorry.
you know?
Yeah, I know, but hey, listen, you got a reason to hold on for it, man. You know what I
I
mean?
have a lot of reasons, but but the pain's so bad. And then, you know, if you got parents, like you said, you don't have a dad. You know, my mom died. We buried my cousin. Like she's like my sister. The little boy that I trained, you saw, we just buried his mom last year. And you keep taking these hits, and you're like, oh my God, it's painful, dude. When all your family
I'm
and
fortunate
friends
enough
die,
to
bro.
I'm fortunate enough to still have my mom. I can't imagine what that's like, man.
Yeah, there's nothing like losing a mom, dude. It's so different than a father. It's she's the giver of life. She's the nurturer. So there's a whole lot more sadness in a son's heart, you know. Love her to death, bro.
There's literally a nature, connection through nature. The whole motherly instinct thing is real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
A
it
mother
is
can
real.
tell when something's
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
When that goes away, man, and I can't. I don't. Unfortunately, one day I don't. I'm not. God willing, it's not
I tried to
forever.
prepare my mind for it, and no matter how you try, when it's done, you're like, oh, it gets dark, dude. Even when you're alone, it just gets dark. It's one day you're good with it, one day you're not. One day you are, then you can go a week without it, and then you smell something or you do something, and then you look back, and then it almost makes you feel exhausted because you've been trying to be strong for so freaking long that you go, man, I'm done. I'm ready to let it go. You know, it's tough. It's tough. Makes you wonder
I
what it's all
understand.
for
I'm so
sometimes, man.
sorry you got to go through that, man. Well, hey, listen,
Hey, at
what is
least
it
I'm not
all
on the
for,
Gaza
man?
Strip, right? Got to be grateful too.
Well, not only that, but listen, if you're still here, clearly God has a purpose for you. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. Maybe to show
You're
other
not
people
done
what
yet.
not to become.
Hey, listen, man.
Yeah,
Listen, maybe there's still somebody. Maybe there's still a life out there you need to save.
I hope so. That's the only thing worth getting up for if it's for somebody else. What else could it be, right? And isn't that the whole thing with Jesus is about serving, right? It's not about you no more. If it's still about you, you don't know him. You going to hit the bed,
I'm
man?
right
You
about
done?
that.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to?
Sorry, I kept on it.
Does your microphone go in and out? A couple of times it freezes on
No,
you on my end.
a free. No,
Yeah.
my microphone's fine. Can
Oh,
you
good, good, good. You can hear me
can
because
you hear
every
me?
once in a while it seems like you cut off in and out.
Oh
Yeah,
no, on
yeah,
my end everything's fine. Sorry, dude.
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfect. It's good now.
Oh, dude. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
It's
Sorry.
doing it now. It like clicks and then like you can barely catch the whole sentence.
Oh,
I don't
that
know. We got
sucks. I hope
storms
it didn't.
over in Missouri, so I don't know.
I hope it didn't mess up the whole stream, man.
Oh, I hope not. I don't know. Let me
I
know
hope.
how it works
Okay.
out.
I will, man. I
Thanks,
guess
bro.
I'll let you go, man.
Yeah,
I
I'm going
had
to
you
bed.
on
I'm an
here for
old
like
man now, dude. I'm usually in bed 7:30.
Hey, listen, man. I'm not. I appreciate your time, man. It was
Thanks,
a
bro.
pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah.
Talk to you
One day
soon.
I'll be back on the bag. I'll show more stuff, dude.
Sounds good, man.
Take care, bro. Have
Have
a
a
good
good
night,
night,
man.
man.
See you, bud.
Take care.
Yep.
Everybody. Bye. Bye.